This is Twin Stick Radio, episode 26 for the week of July 9th, 2018. I am one of your hosts, Trey Higgins, and I'm joined by Chris Rodriguez.
Damn it, I didn't know what to do. I should have done the Matt Hardy thing. Fuck.
I was expecting you to say,
God,
make Star Wars great again. And then I was going to say, man, am I living the Groundhog Day episode of Supernatural and I have to stop you from dying?
We were doing the Matt Hardy thing and it was so good.
And I'm joined also by Justin T. Lopez.
If I could never hear a conversation about Star Wars, I'd be okay.
Wheel of chairs, mower of lawns.
I don't know what this is.
It's so good.
It's a wrestling thing.
Also,
I assume anytime Chris starts talking and I don't understand, it's either Star Wars or wrestling. I would say I'm right about 90% of the time.
I want to point this out for our listeners because even though we're on YouTube, we are still just an audio-only podcast.
For now.
As Justin T. Lopez was waiting to be introduced on the podcast, he had his hand under his chin like a model that was like waiting for someone to take his picture. No. It was flat. It was like like
always camera ready.
Yeah. So just in case you needed a visual of what Justin looked like while everything was going on, how's everyone doing?
Great. I was fighting, staying awake.
Oh, whatever.
During
Screw
a
you.
40-minute conversation about Star Wars.
It's 38 minutes.
Also, you could just try to change the subject.
It's true. You're the one that just sat there on their phone, not piping in.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't want to be a part of the conversation, or you didn't want to be a part of a conversation, so we just went off and did our thing.
That's fine.
How could you expect
Then don't complain about
us?
it.
I wasn't complaining.
You just complained. Go
drink
your watermelon drink and eat your watermelon seeds. Go have another one.
Don't tempt me.
Oh, hey, you were going to tell a story on the podcast that you wouldn't tell at lunch.
I was debating whether I wanted to wait or not, and I figured, sure, why not?
Well, Chris told you to wait. There was no debate. It was like, I'm waiting to see if I should tell it. And Chris was like, tell it on the podcast.
And because we had to leave because we were on a time crunch.
That is not why he said that. He said that because he wanted content. Also, that was like 20 minutes before we left Taco Bell. So,
well, because at Taco Bell, you had brought up something about suing. You said, or like getting a lawyer or something.
I was going to sue Taco Bell for not giving me one of those big straws.
That's right.
And I had to use like the little baby straws.
That's right.
And that's what reminded me of something that happened at work this week.
Okay.
So
were you aiding and abetting another criminal?
No.
Okay.
He was
this time
the
I was
criminal.
fighting the law.
Law won?
No.
Oh.
There was a incident with an employee, I guess hitting on a customer who turns out had a boyfriend. He asked them for their phone number, basically, not knowing that she was taken. So the next day,
she wasn't scorned.
I don't think that's against the law. Oh,
so
at least she wasn't
the next
scorned.
day.
Whatever, that was a great joke.
The boyfriend calls and I take the phone call and he explains the situation to me and I'm like, okay, well, I'm sorry that happened. We'll talk to him and we'll let him know to not do that, basically, because situations like this can happen.
Sure.
And people can get upset or whatever.
Sure.
So situation's handled. I tell the HR person and I go about my business. Next day, the person calls back and says, "Hey, me and my girlfriend and my family, we want to come back, and I just want to make sure that the situation's been handled because, I don't want to see him there, and I don't want to do something that I shouldn't do." And I was like, "Well,
my dick's real big, and I could beat him up real hard."
And I was like, "Well, I mean, I'm not going to guarantee that he's not going to be here. I mean," and he's like, "Well, I thought you guys handled the situation." I was like, "I did. I passed it along to HR, and then they were going to talk to him." And he was like, "Well, you would rather lose a customer over an employee?" And in my mind, I was like, "Yes, 100%. Yes, I do not want you to come here. I would much rather lose your whatever that you're giving to us." I hate the whole mentality of like customers always right. Like I'm going to hold my money over you. Like
Sure.
Dance for me, clowns.
Sure.
And so I was like, "Well, no, we're going to handle it. It'll be fine." And he's like, "Well, I guess I'm just going to have to get a lawyer then." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, if you're not going to handle the situation, I'm going to have to get a lawyer." And da da da. He kept getting louder and louder. And I was like, "Sir, like getting loud with me isn't going to fix anything."
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's like, "Nope, we're just going to get a lawyer." And eventually, I was just like, "Okay." And then I hung up.
I would have asked, on what grounds are you going to sue ZDT on?
I felt like in this conversation I could not reach his level of stupidity.
Sure.
To have
unless the girl was like 16.
No, they were all well above age.
What are you going to sue ZDTs on?
Nothing.
Question number 1. Did the girlfriend give the guy the number?
I don't think she did.
Question number 2. I get the whole chivalrous straight thing. Don't get me wrong. I get that boyfriends are expected to stick up for their girlfriends, and I understand in some cases the boyfriend should stick up for the girlfriend. But if the girlfriend was really so upset by it, why didn't she call? So maybe he is just really self-conscious about the fact that she's not mad about it.
Equality. What
I think is because this employee was, in the customer's own words,
was it Taylor?
No, it wasn't Taylor. in the customer's,
Kat, we have to tell you something.
In the customer's own words, the employee was a colored gentleman.
Oh my God!
Oh God!
I think that is why he would like us to take further action. But he wants us to like in a roundabout way. He wanted us to fire the guy for asking for someone's number, which is not against the law.
It is 100. It may be against you guys' policy.
It's not.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well, actually, no, sorry.
I was going to say
asking for a customer's number is technically against our policy.
You guys might want to go like revise these policies just a little bit. However, it's not grounds of being fired.
But being nice to people, or I mean, people have feelings. I mean, if a customer comes up and gives an employee their number, we're not going to say anything. That's fine. Like, stuff happens.
So in a similar story, I don't know how things work, but at some point in my employment, it could be recent or it could be far away. I had a situation where a guest was breaking the rules. And I politely told the guests, like, hey, just so you know, you're breaking the rules. You can't do things this way. An analogy to this would be getting a drink and ordering a refill for that drink and then having both on the table at the same time and each person having, a drink. Mm-hmm. There are logical ways why you can explain that could happen in this analogy that is not real life at all. But there are ways that you could explain how that should be able to happen, but it can't happen that way. So I politely told the guests, like, hey, can't do that, but we're going to go ahead and let that happen today. It's not a big deal. I'm just letting you know so that on your next visit, you don't expect it to happen again. Everything's cool. It's fine. Wife freaks out at me, gets really mad. I'm like, hey, would you like to talk to my manager at the end of your visit? And they're like, sure. Step out of the theater, come back with some other stuff for the theater. Husband comes out and just starts screaming at me in the hallway. Then I have to get a manager involved because he's cussing at me and screaming at me. And the manager's talking to him, and he's literally like telling the manager to fire me and asking the manager to call me over and fire me in front of this person. And it's the whole same thing. It's like, not only was like, I was not in the wrong in the slightest.
Right.
I was also accommodating them for breaking the rules. And they just got pissed, and they think I should be fired for it. Customer logic makes no sense at all.
People are terrible and entitled.
That's why I enjoyed being a manager over a worker of retail. Like the mule kick lady. Yeah. What was my initial reaction? Get the fuck out of my store. Because I can.
Well, I know, and that was my reaction whenever the guy was like, well, I'm going to get a lawyer and I'm going to sue. And I literally, I said, okay, and then I hung up.
Now, for the fucking social justice warriors out there, let's be fair for a second. If your employee was forcibly forcing advances on this woman,
harassing someone,
and she did not want it to happen, then you definitely have a problem.
Totally different.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I would crack down hard on
I'm talking like there's two different sides of the story, right? You're listening to this boyfriend, you're listening to your employee. It's really like you got to figure out what actually happened in the interaction before you can come to a conclusion.
And there wasn't, and it would be different if the boyfriend was like, hey, he was harassing us.
Sure, yeah.
Uncomfortable.
This was just a, hey, he asked for his...
The boyfriend's side of the story was literally, he asked my girlfriend for her number.
Yeah,
I'm going to get a lawyer and I'm going to sue you guys.
Sure. Of course you are.
Please.
Good luck.
Please do. It doesn't even sound like you can afford a lawyer.
I don't think people realize that getting a lawyer is expensive.
I don't think people realize just life and
maybe
to suck shit up.
Sure. They should watch Better Call Saul. One of Saul Goodman's favorite threats is
everybody just calm down and watch Supernatural.
One of his favorite threats is I will take you to court, and we will be in court for years, and I probably won't win, but I will bankrupt you in the process.
It's very true.
Yep. If you guys haven't listened to us before, we are a podcast about video games. We record weekly, and we are usually up on Fridays. You can listen to the show on your favorite podcast apps, and also now on YouTube.
Yay.
Go subscribe there. YouTube won't give us a link because we don't have 1 million followers. So just search
YubTub.
Toxic Radio. What?
It's YubTub.
YubTub?
Is that our link?
Yep.
YouTube.com/YubTub.
No, it's yubtub.com. Yubtub.net/Forensic Radio.
But we start the show with the same segment every week. Chris, what are you playing? He knew it was his turn. Did you hear that sigh? He doesn't remember a lot of things, but he remembered today that this was his turn.
That's not the reason I'm sighing. I'm sighing because of how
Because it's still
fucking
Destiny.
shitty Destiny is.
This was a day.
Oh, it's so fucking shitty.
Have you given up on it yet?
I didn't. I haven't signed on since that day.
Are you
I mean,
going to
that
be
was a
done
couple
until
days ago.
reset? Or are you?
I don't know. It's just fucking stupid. It's stupid and shitty. So I played Destiny. I also played SmackDown, WWE, and I think that's it.
Are you still doing your whole, like, you're running your own
Yeah, universe
thing?
mode. Yeah.
Cool.
That's fun. That's been a lot of fun because I'm
Basically, him sitting down and watching
right.
WWE matches.
I'm managing the WWE universe, which is a lot of fun.
It makes life worth living whenever Destiny wants to beat you down.
So we logged into and this was the first time in a long time that there was 3 of us logging into Destiny on the same day. So on reset, Trey, me, and Daniel logged into Destiny.
We were online before that playing.
Yeah,
Crucible.
we were playing Crucible, trying to grind out some was a couple of the triumphs, and we made some progress, and it was cool. 12 o'clock comes around and reset happens. I'm like, okay, here we go. We can knock out the heroic milestone, flashpoint, nightfall, and clan XP. That's 4 engrams. Plus the prestige nightfall gives you a powerful engram. So that's 5 chances for my warlock to get to get boots. I'm sorry. 5 chances for my warlock to get boots.
What more do you need?
Last week I was at 380 and my warlock needed boots. And I got, out of 5 powerful engrams, I got 5 chess pieces. So every chess piece that my warlock has is 382. Everything is above 380 except for my boots at 375. So what's happening is all my powerful engrams aren't dropping any higher than 377 because because of that lower
It's
thing
like
of
the
boots.
median between his
It's the
highest power
right.
level and his lowest power level.
So all last week, five milestones completed, 5 chess pieces. Fine. Bad luck. This week, I go in, we finish 4 milestones plus the powerful engram. Powerful engram gave me a shotgun. Cool, got my tractor cannon up. The 4 milestones, 4 chess pieces.
I feel like your game is broken in some way.
I don't know, but it's and this goes back to the initial conversation we've always had about Destiny is Bungie, your progression system is the shittiest piece of fuckery that I have ever seen in my entire life. And it's artificially gated so people who aren't playing this game 8 hours a day aren't going to progress.
Well, and
I'm a perfect example of this.
We were talking to Daniel because I asked for clarification about something, but if you do the 2 raid layers, the raid and the prestige raid, you can get 12 additional
powerful drops. So you have 12 more chances to get boots. Mm-hmm. So if I had time
and
people to play with to go do the raids, of course, I would probably already have my boots by now. But guess what? I don't have time to go do that much content in Destiny. So you're basically gating me to milestones, 5 milestones a week, and then you give me 7 or 8 chess pieces that can't progress my light level. I need a fucking pair of boots. That's it. Out of 2 weeks and fucking 10 milestone engrams, I can't get 1 pair of boots? Are you fucking kidding me? God, so fucking stupid. And you know whose fault this is it's Datto and fucking DCP and Holtzman and Gathalion and Broman and T. It's their fault.
We were talking about that too because in at the beginning of Destiny 2, it was great. We would log on every day and just run public events, wait for exotic drops, and then exotic drops would bring our light level up. And then on top of that, we also had our clan engram. So we would do Crucible shit together just so we had an extra clan engram because that dropped as a powerful gear piece too. But now we can't do that because people are like, oh, getting to 305 and 335 was way too easy. Well, yeah, if you know life something, if you have 100 hours a week to play fucking Destiny for your goddamn streamers, of course it's easy. But for those of us that have real lives and don't have 6 friends that can constantly raid, we kind of need the helping hand. And also, the power level isn't shit. It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't. But it's nice to get there. It's nice to be progressing.
Because you can start building up a gear set.
Yes. And I legit, other than the fact that I got to play with 2 of my friends, which we had a ton of fun. It's Destiny, right? Shooting aliens is a ton of fun. We were joking around, making jokes, laughing, and doing all these things and just talking about shooting the shit, whatever we do in Destiny. Great. But from a gameplay perspective, I legitimately wasted 4 hours out of my life that I could have been doing something more productive. And yes, it was my choice, but I thought that in that 4 hours, out of all the different ways I could get something, I would have gotten what I needed and felt like I progressed. But unfortunately, the stupid gating thing that Bungie has in their fucking progression system, I didn't. And again, I 100% blame every single person who is on Twitch making money from streaming Destiny. It's their fucking fault. I'm sorry.
It's this abusive relationship that you're just stuck in.
Well, we talked about this. I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast. Oh, I think we did, though. But it's like I realized last week that I have a really unhealthy relationship with Destiny. And I think it's just funny.
Like Chris does too.
I think it's funny because like when you talk to Daniel and Chris, it's like, oh, you guys do too. I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
We all have unhealthy relationships.
Daniel
with
plays
this game.
Daniel raids. Daniel does all the things that you can do in Destiny because like he works on the weekends mainly. So he does all this, but he still has the same qualms.
Well, and it's funny too because I've been playing. We'll move on from Destiny very soon. But
Maybe
I've been playing Destiny 2 on PC because I deleted my hunter and started with a new hunter and have been leveling up. And I think I've put maybe 8 to 10 hours into the game. And those 8 to 10 hours were a lot of fun because every drop you get means
you're progressing.
But then you hit 335, or if you have mods on, you hit 340. And it's awful. It's awful.
I mean, hard break.
It's not even fun because like even then, so I told you guys last week the way I've been playing it is I went through the story and then I've been going through all the planets and doing all of the adventures and world quests and just going through one by one. I haven't even touched the DLC yet. I hit level 30 before finishing all the Earth stuff.
Nice.
And I still have the DLC to do, but also my drive to do the DLC has dropped a little bit because it's like, what the fuck am I going to get for doing this?
Sure.
Actually, all this stuff in Osiris, all the rewards you get from that are powerful engrams.
So,
Not the.
are you sure?
Yes.
Because the way that they were dropping for me when I did it on my Warlock, they all capped out at 335.
The guns that you get from the Forge will drop at higher levels.
Yes. I'm
That
sorry. You're
is
right.
true.
The prophecy weapons are definitely powerful, but I'll play through Curse this week and come back and confirm. But I remember on my Titan and Warlock when I did it, they capped out at 335.
I don't remember them going above that either. But the
But I might be
weapons
wrong.
did. Sure, I could be wrong as well.
Just sounds like so much work.
And the problem is that it is, but it's fun, right? That's the whole deal. Is it's fun. We log in every week to Destiny because it's a fun game to play.
I don't know how to describe it because there's a part of it when you start talking about it and you start saying stuff out loud, you're like, this doesn't sound like fun.
Sure.
But how do I describe that it's actually
Right,
fun?
exactly. And that's the thing is,
Like I'm sure it's fun whenever you're playing it.
Tons
But
of
it's
fun.
like it's the progression system that
Right.
just kills you.
I wasted 4 hours on Tuesday. I legitimately wait from 12 to 4 was wasted. Absolutely wasted. When granted, I was just playing video games. I get it, but I could have been playing WWE and progressing forward in that. Or I could have played Absolver where I was progressing forward. Or I could have fucking ate a sandwich and progressed my own fucking life. But I legitimately wasted 4 hours out of my day because of this fucking gate system that the streamers wanted. Because guess what? We don't matter. Trey, Everett, you, me, the people who play Destiny sitting in this room right now, we don't matter. The 200 people that got invited to their fucking Destiny summit, that's what matters. All the people at Guardian Con right now that have their panels and their fucking booths, they matter. We don't care. They don't care about us. If they cared about us, then we wouldn't have this problem right now. We would have had a say in how Destiny needs to progress. We would have had a say in whether or not we wanted random rolls back. We would have had a say on whether or not we thought the progression system of Curse was better than Warmind. But we don't matter. Gathalion matters. Because guess what? He sells copies of Destiny because he's making fucking $200,000 a month on Twitch. Mm-hmm. He matters. People who get worlds first in raid, they matter because it's publicity for Bungie. This person matters because he's always playing Destiny. He plays Destiny 12 hours a day on Twitch and has 500,000 followers. He matters. We don't make a damn bit of difference. However, guess who's the majority of Destiny players? We are.
I mean, all our friends play Destiny the way we do. Like, it's funny. Like, they all do it, but it's also funny, too. Again, we'll move on very soon. But it's also funny, too, because, like, you have the Triumph stuff that you can be working towards.
Yeah.
But really the last thing I really need to do on my Guardian before, like the thing that I want to really do before Forsaken is I want to get Legend of Acreus because I've had that quest sitting around. And I know it's real easy. I just haven't asked to do it because
we got to go to the raid.
No, you just have to do the Nightfall. That Nightfall that appears on the planet. Oh,
doing the Prestige raid is how you get the next form. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm on the final step.
I think you have to do the raid, but
I thought the final step was doing the Nightfall.
I thought you had to do the raid.
Anyway, I'll look it up. But anyways, but the whole thing is that outside of that, like, yeah, I could be working towards my triumphs or something, but it kind of sucks to log in when you're not on your milestone, when your milestones are done.
Yeah,
because it's like, what do I do? Like,
nothing.
Because I could get these purple drops, but they don't.
They don't progress you. Nope.
So, like, why am I logging in? I could be working towards Iron Banner, but I'm not guaranteed to get any of the armor. So why would I keep grinding out tokens in a mode that I don't really like?
Yep.
I could get to 50 with my faction next week, but it's kind of not fun after a while.
Sure. In the 4 hours out of the day you have to play this game, why do that when you can go play God of War?
Yeah.
Or when you can, like I said, go live life and not have a waste of 4 hours.
See, it doesn't sound like you guys have fun playing Destiny. You have fun,
right?
Whenever there's things to do, like,
sure,
because you have your milestones that you're going for,
sure, and that's the thing is
like when you do them. But like whenever those things are done, the fun is not enough. It's incentive enough to play.
But here's the thing: for casual players, I don't think we're casual players. I really don't. But
I would definitely not group you into a casual player.
But for who we are and how we play Destiny, that's 3 different characters to go do all the milestones on.
Yeah.
For me, that takes a whole week. So there's always something for me to do in Destiny.
If you choose that you have to do those things for, like,
that's how you progress. So there's always something for me to do in Destiny, but even now doing those things, it doesn't progress me. I'm not progressing in Destiny. My Hunter and Warlock for the last 2 weeks have been at 380 and 379 because I can't get the drops that I need.
According to this, to get the gun, you just have to do the arms dealer
and finish it within like a certain time.
Well, but the time limit's not there anymore.
They took it out, even out of the quest.
Because
they made it easier to get Acreus.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And then there's like a quest step that you do afterwards where you have to.
Are you sure? Because it's not the Nightfall. It's an actual mission that you have to go to Earth to do.
It doesn't have the timer. I went in and tried to do it by myself. Cool. Yeah, but then there's a next quest step where you have to kill Cabal on Leviathan or something. But I don't know what that does.
That upgrades Acreus into 2 shot instead of 1 shot.
Oh,
this could be a dumb question, but why not just wait for the big DLC to come out?
That's the whole thing, though. I was going to say this, and then I wanted to like prove myself right because I'm an asshole. But thanks, Chris. Part of the reason why I keep playing the game, because if there wasn't a fall DLC, say Bungie was giving up on Destiny and they're like, we're not doing a fall DLC, I wouldn't be playing anymore. Part of the reason why I keep playing, keep logging in, is because I want to have pretty much everything from year 1 done by the time that Forsaken comes out.
Okay.
And that's doable. Like the Moments of Triumph stuff is all stuff that you just need to go do. So there's that to progress. But again, like the main progression for Destiny is your light level. That's how you progress as a character.
Yeah, I assumed that whenever the DLC would come out, like the light level cap increases.
It does.
It
does,
I
but-
assume there will be more things to gain more light level rather than grinding so hard
I'm
for
happy about
like.
that.
It does. It actually increases. So light level cap right now is 385. The light level cap in Forsaken is going to be 600. So
Yeah, why not just take a break and just go back to that?
but that's the thing is like if the grind to 600 is anywhere near what it is now, there's literally no point in us playing it because we're never.
But it doesn't
But
sound
it
like
wouldn't be, right?
But it doesn't
I don't
sound
think
like it.
so.
They're
It doesn't
adding in-
sound like it is.
They're adding in new milestones that you can do as an individual. They're also changing
Milestones reset every 4 days.
certain
now.
milestones reset every 4 days. So hopefully the way that it'll turn out is that there's more stuff to do. But it still goes back to the argument of why is that the case a year after the game came
Right.
out? And the thing is that like the simple truth is, and Everett, you are an avid Destiny 2 player from what I understand,
I haven't played in weeks.
but like
We
were
will
at some
be
point.
playing an Avid Destiny very, very regularly. Yes,
But
just
would
like
you
us.
would you agree that the way that leveling worked at the game's launch was fine, or would you disagree and say that it was too easy?
Probably pretty neutral about it, I guess.
It says pretty neutral, but
Because I've always been a fan of like the raids should get you the most powerful stuff in the game, anyways. So
I have no qualms about the raid getting you the most powerful things. However,
how do you measure power? Right? Because
Sure.
if you're measuring it in terms of the pure number power or in terms of the most useful item, like
sure.
compared to another thing of the same power level.
So look at it this way. If you look at every other MMO on the market, Destiny's an MMO. Bungie, sorry, get over it. Destiny is an
Got 'em.
MMO. If you look at every other MMO on the market, there are multiple ways to gain power. World of Warcraft is a great example. There are multiple ways to get power and get to the max level in World of Warcraft. However, the only way to get the most powerful weapons and stuff. So a weapon in World of Warcraft, you can have a weapon drop, and it is just as.
weapons anymore.
Okay, sure. I don't know what World of Warcraft is. Old World of Warcraft. You have, and still even, let's take ESO for example. Then you can have a extremely legendary, exotic piece of weapon drop in an MMO, and you can have the exact same thing drop in a higher level raid, and nothing changes about that weapon except for extra perks on these that come from the raid.
So that was going to be my, because I haven't really played the end game of an MMO before, but to me, from what I understand, most MMOs don't use a fucking power light.
No,
level.
they don't. It's a leveling system. So
but
like
what-
you
what-
can get the axe of fucking dwarven kind, and then if you go and do like 40-man raids, you get the axe of dwarven kind +1. It's not a better weapon. The numbers are the exact same. It does 50 million damage, except it has an extra perk.
So I guess
Why can't that be a thing?
the question that I was going to ask though was like, is the problem power level? Is that why progression sucks? Because I feel like on one
Yes.
hand, and on one hand, it extends the end game. But say we drop power level and your actual level meant something like that was what actually determined your
Sure,
stats
yeah.
instead of what gear you were wearing. Would you be okay with an end game where it's like, hey, I got a weapon drop and it's just a different stat weapon?
I want an in game. Like I don't
Like,
think.
how-
I
how
don't
would
think
you-
that. So the way Destiny is set up, yeah, it should be cool, but it's not going to work like that. We're speaking hypothetically, right? If we're working within the confines of Destiny universe, all you have to do is I'm with Everett, and even with the streamers, I agree. Like if I'm not doing the raid, I shouldn't get like the raid weapons. However,
Not to interrupt you.
Okay.
Just to put a pin on this, since this conversation is turning into more, and I also have a way to kind of loop Justin into this, do we want to pause this for now, get through everything else, and
Sure.
then do a topic for
Sure.
this?
Sure.
That way we can talk about it as long as we want.
talk
and
about
people
how
who-
shitty Destiny is.
Well,
Sure.
and that way people who don't care about Destiny can skip over it.
Got it.
And I do have a way to like loop you into this. I'm not trying to like cut you out of the topic.
Great.
But I it's turning into a longer conversation, and I know that we
As it
talk about
usually
Destiny
does.
a lot.
Fair enough.
So I don't want to hold up the audience and make
Again,
them
I've
listen
also
to
been
us.
playing WWE 2K18. It's awesome, and I made a character, and he's Fighter Bullet Club, and it's great.
I will say though, if you're a listener to this podcast, I really would like you to either email us or tweet at us You can email us at twinstickradio@gmail.com, or you can tweet at us at twinstickradio. And I want you to just send us a tweet and tell us how you feel about the Destiny Talk on the podcast.
Sure.
Do you hate it? Do you like it? We won't read your stuff on the air if you don't want us to. I legitimately want to know, because here's the way that I feel. On one hand, I really care about what the audience likes and doesn't like, but if I'm not getting feedback about it, I don't want to limit what we talk about on here.
Sure, because we talk about Destiny a lot.
We talk about Destiny a lot, and I enjoy that conversation. I don't know how Justin feels about it. Justin, you just need to start playing Destiny. Just pick up a PC, copy.
That's the solution.
Stop playing Fortnite.
But
Fucking Logan Paul plebe.
Stop having fun. Get into the stress.
But like, if you legitimately don't like it, I don't know that you don't like it, and I'm not going to stop talking about Destiny to accommodate someone who's not talking to me.
I'm going to make an anonymous email and
Send billions of emails. So
more Fortnite talk, less Destiny.
My whole point being, I want to hear from both sides, but I also want to hear, I want to hear whether if there are people out there that just hate it and stop listening to us.
Sure,
More Overwatch.
Because we could totally bring back Twin Stick Guardians and just do an hour a week where we sit down and talk about Destiny.
Sure.
I don't think an hour a week is
I don't
long
think
enough.
I don't think I played anything else. I think I played Absolver for maybe a minute or two, and I think the game's cool, but like I don't know, it just
Also, Justin, put that on social media too.
Okay.
I really want
Not
people to
now.
respond to us.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah.
I had that thought too.
Justin, what are you playing?
Not Destiny.
Good for you.
No.
Good for you. I feel like when it all comes down to it, I'm gonna have to like check into rehab for Destiny.
For real. Like,
Or you just need to wait for
if we're
Division
being
2.
honest
Yeah.
here.
Oh yeah. Or
Division
just-
2 will be
sure.
rehab
Sure,
for
yeah,
Destiny
sure.
and then a new
Sure.
addiction.
Or
I
Anthem.
just play games that I just have fun with. Like just
I have
what
fun
did
in-
you play this week?
I played Rocket League because it's just fun. And there's not like I'm not like I don't know. The games that I play, the progression that I get is more so like skill based. Like I get better at a game. I don't get better gear for a game. Does that make sense?
Let's save this part all for the topic.
But I played Rocket League and it was
Played
fun
Rocket
because
League.
it was their.
I'm not trying to rush you through.
No, you're
if
fine.
you have
No,
some
hurry
new
the
insight
fuck
about
up.
Rocket League,
It was their anniversary event going on right now.
I saw that.
It's kind of cool. Actually, I do like something they did.
Okay,
Uh,
you don't have to rush to it.
for this event.
Hurry the fuck up.
For this
Don't listen
event,
to him.
they have like their loot boxes that they normally do, but they also have what is called golden eggs, to where basically you can use these credits that you earn by just playing matches, not doing anything special, just playing matches, and then you can open a golden egg without having to purchase any sort of like keys or decryptors or anything like that, like you would normally do to open crates, and it gives you just a random like exotic item basically.
Okay.
From like because like they have so many different like boxes and stuff, but you can open up these golden eggs that'll give you just a random one from one of the
Are they
previous
easy
ones.
to obtain, or does it take a while?
You just have to play 15 matches and you can get
Jesus.
you can
That's
get
like
one.
that's
Well, hold on, wait, hold on.
matches.
1 second though. How long? Not 1 second. I wasn't trying to interrupt. I was saying 1 second to myself before I judged. How
long's a
long does a
match?
match take?
The time on a match is 5 minutes, but every time you score and stuff,
So
it
that's
stops the time for like a
75
second.
minutes.
Wait, a match in Fortnite only lasts for 5 minutes?
This is Rocket League.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Fortnite. Sorry.
Well, I mean, it could last like 1 minute if
Sure.
you suck.
Yeah.
Very true.
Okay.
It's just
I
5
understand.
minutes.
That-
Just like 5 minutes.
And you get one random item from any box.
I'm not sure if it's any box, but yes.
SWTOR
In a
did that.
sense.
SWTOR did that at one point in time. They came out with their they called it the Galactic something like. But anyway, you can buy them still. But like SWTOR does the same thing. ESO does is every month that you're paying for it, they give you that money back in cartel coins.
Yeah.
So you're not really paying for it. You're just paying for cartel coins.
And
You can buy those and you can get shit from any box that has ever been put into the game.
Yeah.
Which is really, really cool.
And that's just the golden eggs. They have like you can use the credits on very specific things for this event that are only available during this event. So it's just like an additional item that they really haven't done before.
So
Basically,
it's essentially like you can either buy the item that you want, or you can take the risk and hope that you
And get
it.
something kinda
And it's
cool from the
Is it
past.
cheaper for the egg?
it's like the same price.
Oh, I guess it seems like
See, it's different because like literally the only thing you do in Rocket League is play matches.
Sure.
So you're getting like it sounds like 75 minutes or whatever, like that's a lot, but it's like
It is.
you're not doing anything else in Rocket League.
It's not.
except
It's not
earning these
necessarily
things.
the length of time. It's the randomness of it, because you can make the same argument for Overwatch. Like in
Yeah.
Overwatch, you're literally just playing matches, which means you're always working towards your next loot crate, but that or loot box.
Yeah,
But that doesn't change the fact that when I open the loot box, there's a small percentage that I'm going to get the thing that I
Sure,
want.
I think Rocket League and Overwatch. I think if you're playing those games for the loot boxes, you're playing the game wrong.
Yeah.
Now you're playing. Yeah, I'm sorry, you're not playing the game wrong. It's just you might be playing the game for the.
I'm playing-
not very effective reasons.
I'm playing. Well,
Does that make sense?
I guess for me personally, and this might not, and I think that you just said this doesn't apply to you, but for me, like I'm always going for a sense of progression.
Sure.
There needs to be a carrot at the end of that stick.
Sure.
And if the carrot is a fucking blue icon that I'm never going to use,
But doesn't
it's not
Overwatch
worthwhile
have
for
like
me.
a level system?
It does, and that's when you level
That's
up. You
your
get another loot box.
progression, right?
Yeah, but
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but the level doesn't. I mean,
And
doesn't
I
do
know,
make a
anything.
difference.
and you're
Okay.
right. Like that's one of the reasons why I don't play Overwatch as much as I
lot,
play
yeah.
other games, because the fact that there is no progression
Sure.
really,
Yeah.
and the progression is just a small chance to get what I actually want, and it really turns me off.
Yeah.
And I just like having fun.
Yeah, I mean
And-
that's great.
No,
That's
no,
the thing is
I'm
like
not
you play
criticizing.
Overwatch
Yeah,
and Rocket League because you just have fun playing them.
Yeah.
You don't care. There is no progression to speak of,
Yeah.
and that's fine. There's games that I play like that. WWE. There's no point in me playing this game. I just enjoy seeing characters get into rivalries and like I'm managing. There's no point in me playing it. I don't get anything from it. But there's that fun factor that I'm playing this game because it's just a shit ton of fun to me.
Yeah. And then if I randomly get a skin or something that I'm like, oh, neat.
But I would 100% any day of the week choose a game where I progress a character forward over just having. I don't want to say just having fun. I love character progression in video games,
Yeah.
and I would always choose those type of games over a game where I just have fun, where there's
Right.
no progression whatsoever. So.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's it.
Last but certainly not least, obviously I played Destiny, but also I played God of War, and I'm not going to say too much more. My opinions haven't changed from last week. I do want to say more at some point somewhere when I finish the game because I do really love this game. I do, however, have a request from the audience. When you're writing in to tell us whether or not you hate the Destiny talk, if you know a good resource, and it has to either be a YouTube channel or an audiobook that is a reasonable price or a podcast, I would really appreciate it if you could send me a really good and interesting resource to learn about Norse mythology. Because
Do you want a book? Because I
don't want a book. I don't want to read.
I have the book on Norse mythology.
no offense to,
wanna read.
or no, I'm sorry, no offense to myself because I don't want to make myself look like an idiot. I don't want to read a book because I won't do it.
Okay.
Like, I will listen to a podcast or an audiobook. I will watch a YouTube video about
Got
it, but I just won't. I won't read a book about it.
Yeah, because I literally have the book on Norse mythology.
Maybe I'll look it up in audiobook.
Can you read it to him?
Yes, that would be amazing.
Just Trey's sitting there playing video games, and I'm in the bed just
You know,
like.
we were talking about
And then the Norse god.
we were talking about sleep hygiene. That might help me fall asleep. But yeah, if you guys know any
Good call.
any good resources for Norse mythology in audiobook, podcast, or YouTube form, please send it to me because I'm actually interested in learning more now that I played this game.
You should try reading it before you go to bed. Reading a book helps you fall asleep.
Yeah, but the problem with like paper books is that they don't have lights behind the pages. I know it sounds really
That's
dumb.
the problem.
Well, like I don't like reading actual paper books because like I can't see the pages. So if I'm gonna read a book, I'm gonna read it on my phone. But that's bad sleep hygiene.
Yeah, because the blue light.
Actually,
keeps
you know
awake.
what? Oh, you said you don't want a book. I was going to say, I bet if I went back to my parents' house and went into the attic, because that's all I studied in college was North, Greek, all I'd probably find my old textbooks too. But if you don't want to read a book, never mind. Those textbooks are real boring. They are some cool shit, but they're real boring.
It's not that I don't want to read. It's that like
It's
that I can't.
It's not time efficient. I get it.
yeah, like I
Totally
can
get
do.
it.
I can play video games. I could drive. I could pretend like I'm gonna do jumping jacks. Like talk about it for
Totally
forever,
get it.
and just put a podcast in.
This is the most American conversation.
It's been my day.
I don't want to
like,
read.
You guys have seen a lot of like True Colors.
I don't want to read.
You guys have seen a lot of True Colors of Trey today.
I just want the knowledge to be in my head all of a sudden.
This is my.
I just want to know.
Real version of me.
He just wants to matrix it.
If I think about doing Jumbo Jacks, it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I am dying so bad. Will you mark that time, please? Where I was coughing.
All that whole time, those huge spikes. That's what
I'm
it
so
is.
sorry. I don't know what it is. Like I had a coughing fit before we started recording and it won't go away. You guys want to talk about the news?
Always.
Here's the news with Trey. Dun.
It's Trey's news.
Speaking of Rocket League, Psyonix game director Scott Rudy announced via Xbox Wire that Rocket League is joining Xbox Game Pass's library of games. The title's DLC will also be discounted for all Game Pass subscribers. Passes, I don't
Cool.
like that.
Now you guys can all play with me.
Or we got it free like 2 years ago already.
We can't
But
play
you
with
can-
you because that doesn't count for PC.
It's very true.
Third-party games don't count for PC on Games Pass.
Damn.
Only first-party.
Once
Sorry,
again,
guys. Sorry, guys. Can't play with me.
Microsoft, you had such a good idea, but your execution's a little weird. Whatever. Also, like I said, we got it for free like 2 years ago.
Sorry, guys. Can't play with me.
Free.
Yeah. We've had it free for forever.
Yep.
Just let us do crossplay, and then we'll play with you.
Good call.
Or
talk
we
about that
we probably won't play.
Do you have
all.
what Todd Howard said?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool.
EXP.GG reports that 141 hackers have been arrested in China for creating cheating software, that contains Trojans for PUBG. The arrests are a result of a cooperative effort between local police and Tencent Games, the Chinese publisher for the game. Over 200 electronic devices, including PCs, USB drives, and mobile phones, have been seized during the arrests. It has been confirmed that the Trojan contained in the cheating software stole users' data.
Damn Chinese hackers.
Just call the law firm of Higgins Rodriguez Lopez. We'll get you out of this.
They're all, did
We'll
you
figure
create this
something out.
software? And they're all, no speak English. English.
Well, but it was Chinese authorities that were arresting them,
okay,
so that would
damn
not they like say it in Chinese. Don't speak a Chinese.
no speak Chinese.
Yeah. So, although after the conversation that we had after the last time we argued about people making software like this, I changed my mind. I will say, after a certain point, I feel like we should also be arresting the dumb people that download this software and expect it to work.
No, that's just making sure they know they're stupid. They don't need to be arrested. They just,
but I feel like there
it's
should-
one of those things.
Dumb
that's
people
like,
are allowed to do a lot of things.
I feel like in just certain cases, dumb people should be held as accountable as the bad people. Because I've been on the internet has existed for most of my life. Right?
Fact.
There has been internet in my
I would
life.
say the internet's probably existed your entire life because
Nope.
you're only 24, 25.
I mean, it might have yes, it's probably existed my
Yeah,
entire life.
yeah.
But I only had internet like starting at like 8 or 9.
Got it. So in Trey's world, the internet existed most of your life.
Yeah.
Got
The
it.
internet has existed for me for most of my life. I learned very quickly that if something sounds too good to be true on the internet, it's not true. It's a scam and it's going to give you a virus.
It's true.
And the fact that people haven't figured this out and they keep falling for it, I feel like they should be held accountable for being naive.
Sure.
Because they're children.
I don't think it's only children though.
Stupid
I think a lot of people. I think a lot of it are 14-year-olds.
Like-
I think a lot of them too are a small minority. Is
Did a
definitely
lot of
like,
stupid things as a 14-year-old on the
sure,
internet.
Yeah.
Like I kind of there. Like I would expect. Like no offense, Rich, you listen to this podcast, but it's probably good that Rich doesn't PC game because I feel like Rich would come in and say like, "Hey, I found this awesome software that makes me better at PUBG, but it's not really working. Can you make it work?"
Rich would not do that. He's good at games anyway. Well, no, he's not. He's not good at Destiny. Sorry, Rich. Yes, you are.
He's good at PvP.
You're good at
Because he can be reckless at PvP and it works for him.
See,
It's dumb at PvP. He's dumb at PvP.
I'm not saying that Rich is dumb, but I feel like that is something that like
He wouldn't fall.
it
for
would
shit
take
like
one
that.
person telling him that that's a good idea and he
wouldn't
would
fall
do
for-
it.
He wouldn't fall for shit like that.
Rich is going to be like, you know what? I'm going to listen to the episode of Twin Stick Radio today. He's going to get to this part and he's going to be like,
As far as I know, Rich listens to all of them. And also, this would not be the worst thing we've said about Rich on the podcast, knowing that Rich will probably hear it.
What?
We've
I don't
said
think I
mean
said
things.
anything bad about Rich.
We've never said it like it's never been like intentionally mean.
I don't think you like Rich.
I love Rich. Rich is
141 hackers.
Rich has texted us before when we've heard his feelings on the podcast.
See, so you have, and you just did it again. Rich, I don't think you'd fall for that.
I kind of feel like you would, and I don't feel like it would be. It's a bad thing.
Rich
that you
being
would.
stupid is not a crime.
I again never.
It's true.
Said you're
Justin
stupid.
thought Anaheim was in Canada. I'm sorry, Canada.
Hey, sue me.
I will.
Publisher Bandai Namco announced via a press release that its Souls-like action RPG Code Vein has been delayed to, quote, sometime in 2019, end quote, despite having announced its initial September 2018 release date last month. Oh, I need to, figure out where commas and stuff go.
Yep.
The delay is due to a desire to improve the game and exceed fan expectations after receiving feedback from hands-on demos. The game has also been removed from Gamescom 2018's playable lineup.
Interesting.
I thought it was really funny because in the way that the press release was kind of laid out, it didn't sound as positive as I wrote it out to be. It sounded more like, oh, people had stuff to say about our game, and so we're fixing this, but we're going to make it sound like it was positive feedback. And I don't know if that's the case. I feel like when you're making a Souls-like game, it's really easy to screw it up.
It sounds like what happened to Scalebound.
Although Bandai Namco did also publish Dark Souls.
Sure, but
So-
they didn't make. But Bandai
They didn't
Namco
make
is
it.
making this game.
Maybe that's why they
put
know
money
it
into
needs
it.
more time.
Maybe it looks cool. I thought it looked really neat, but
It has an awesome art style,
Yeah.
but I don't know how the gameplay translates.
no clue. Haven't got to play it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not big on Souls games anyway, so.
It's because you're a plebe. You need to get good.
Are there
More
loot-
about progression.
Are there loot boxes? No, I don't care. Are you tired of Skyrim ports? Well, according to Bethesda's head honcho, Todd Howard, if you don't want them, stop buying them.
Such a good fucking
Love it.
for real. Like
In an interview with the Dorito King, Jeff Keighley, Howard stated,
the
quote,
Dorito King.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
look up the Dorito King.
Okay.
Howard stated, quote, even now, the amount of people who play Skyrim 7 years later, millions of people every month are playing that game. That's why we keep releasing it. If you want us to stop releasing it, stop buying it. Howard went on to say that he wants his games to be sustainable past his time at the company. Quote, I'd say I want it. The fact that you keep laughing is like throwing me off.
It's so good. If you want us to stop fucking releasing it, then stop fucking buying it.
Quote, I'd say I want it to be sustainable. Eventually, there will come a day where I'm not making games at Bethesda. Hopefully, that's a long time away. But I want to make sure that who we are, what the worlds are, and what the company is, that's sustainable far beyond me.
I just think it's fucking hilarious.
I love Todd Howard.
I know, man. That guy's so good.
He gets away with saying stuff like that because he's Todd Howard.
But also because he's just so pure.
Like if EA came out, like if the fucking head guy at EA, who I don't know his name, so that doesn't help at all.
we'll
But
call him Peter McPeterson.
Yeah, Peter McPeterson. If Mr. McPeterson came out and was like, hey, if you guys don't want loot boxes in your game, stop buying them, people would like burn down their headquarters.
EA the next day, EA would be in a rubble of just
Yeah.
burning in ashes.
He was assassinated
Yeah,
that night on his way to the hotel.
But Todd Howard is like, if you don't want the Skyrim port for your toaster, don't buy the one that's coming out of
Sure.
your refrigerator next week.
And people are like, "Oh my god, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right. Todd Howard, you're right."
Yeah,
No,
they're
I
like,
get it,
what?
yeah.
He's a
Well,
god.
I mean, I don't know, but there's a difference between someone like, just take two people. The line between like being a douchebag for saying too much and being like that really honest friend that
Sure.
just tells
So-
you how it is.
Sure,
It's a very fine line.
and also the situations these are in. It's like the loot box debacle. People did stop buying them, right? People did, like, to an extent.
People said they did.
Yeah, people said they did. They might, but there was definitely like I think I would love to see a graph of just like overall loot boxes when this happened. I would assume there was a fairly big drop when this loot box debacle happened. But the thing is like Todd Howard's right. You know what I mean?
Oh no,
like
it's not a matter of him being wrong. It's just a matter of like, how does he get away with shit?
Yeah, like I when Skyrim remastered come out on PS4, it was on the NPDs for 2 months. It's like, well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's why we keep releasing Skyrim
how
because
many how many times has everyone here bought Skyrim? I bought it 3 times.
original.
Bought the original on 360. I bought the first Legendary Edition on 360, And then I bought the Legendary Edition on PC, not because I wanted it, because I don't know that I will ever touch it again, but I wanted the free upgrade.
Not Legendary. Yeah, is it Legendary? The one with all the shit.
Yeah.
The Game of the Year edition.
But I bought it on PC again so that when the remaster came out, I would just be grandfathered into the upgrade.
So twice on 360, once on PC. I got the free one on PC. I'll count that as a download because apparently that's what Xbox does.
You got the free one on PC?
Yeah, if you bought
Oh, it is a separate download.
Yeah.
So I guess that I've only bought it 3 times, but
according to Xbox,
copies
as long as you download the fucking
the
game,
same.
it's all the same. It's a sell.
Yeah.
So 4, but then Whitney also bought it on PS4. So
I don't know if did she buy it on PS4?
I think she bought it on PS4 while we were together. So I would count that as a buy. So
Really?
I'd say 5 times.
Did you guys sell it?
I don't know. I think it's in that little stack that we keep in front of the table. I think.
You know what's like kind of stupid is that like I kind of don't want to play it on PC, but if I had a PS4 copy of it, I might play it again because I kind of want the trophies.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, Justin, how many times have you bought Skyrim?
Bought it once
Wow.
because I don't have a problem.
Jesus.
Fuck you.
Who the fuck invited this?
Go
douchebag
play
on
your
the
fucking
podcast?
Rocket League and Fortnite, you damn ninja guy.
Ninja guy.
I give you
How many
guys
times
a
have you
hard
bought
time
it?
about one game. And suddenly it's
That's what happens when you put the stick in the bear cage.
You better
sound
watch
like
it. That's
the
strike number
Destiny
2. Strike
subreddit.
number 3. You're out of the D&D group.
Oh no!
It's like, fuck you guys. All right, you're gone. Oh, that's so sad.
And he drowned.
How many times have you bought Skyrim, Everett? Twice?
Twice.
3 times?
3 times. Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. He's right. He's not wrong.
The third time I bought it, I bought all the games. It's the entire.
Sure.
So you see, Arena,
Oh, on no, that's not Skyrim. Oh, I understand. You bought the Steam version with all the shit.
it was a physical thing. Came with all the games that you've ever made.
Oh, that's kind of awesome.
What
I
did
didn't
it?
know
Was
that.
it like
That's
the
awesome.
nuke?
Like the Fallout nuke? No. Was it like the Fallout nuke? Because the Fallout nuke
Like
came
did it come with a
1,
cool
2,
collectible
3.
that all the discs fit in?
It came with maps for each region,
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
even the older.
It came with maps.
I'll have
I don't
to
know
look
if
that
anyone
up.
can hear this.
I'll have to look that
Everett
up.
bought the collection. It came with maps, and we're just trying to figure out if it came in a nuke.
That's actually really cool.
That's neat.
Also,
That's not bad.
to be fair, hear me out.
Okay.
If Skyrim were to go on sale on Switch, I would heavily consider it.
I wouldn't buy it on Switch.
Hey, I'm talking about me.
I know, no. I'm just saying, like, as the Nintendo fanboy here,
Sure.
I would not buy it on Switch because, like, you buying it on Switch would be dumb because
Sure.
you're never not going to play the Switch at home.
Well,
And at that point, like, why not just play it on PC?
Sure.
And also, there's no mods,
Sure. Oh, good call. There's no mods.
and that
If you want to buy it on Switch, you just go ahead.
I can't have the naked lady mod where everybody's naked.
or they all look like anime
Is it
chicks.
just the ladies, or is it?
No, it's the dudes too.
Oh.
So like there's like a better bodies mod where like it just improves
Everyone looks like my body.
No, it just improves the over
No.
That was harsh.
it improves the overall quality of the way everybody looks. And
Boob
it
physics.
No. It like if you were to look at a vanilla Skyrim character and look at one of these fully clothed and everything, it's like this one looks really cool. Like just the body proportions look cooler. The guys don't like this fucking like it's like more realistic. However, with those mods come with like if you were to like change armor around, they're not covered. It's just like full on nudity. Dude's dicks hanging out,
So,
vaginas,
now that you-
huge fucking boobs. It's like I
Now
don't need
that-
any of that. I
now-
just want the better bodies, damn it.
Now that you point this all out, I came to the realization that in spite of the fact that Bethesda puts a lot of attention to detail into their world building, every female character has the same body model, which means they all have the same size boobs.
Yep.
And that seems very unrealistic to me,
Yep.
and it bothers me.
Yeah, and that's what these mods do is they give like not every female or dude are gonna look the same. Like some girls have like a smaller chest, some dudes are like super skinny and kind of like maybe bigger legs or just anyway. There's variation in the NPCs when you see them, so it's not like running into the same damn NPC for 500 hours.
You're
It's
not
actually-
like, hey, I've seen that.
yeah, like
penis
hey, I've
before.
seen exactly. Like it just gives it a bit more of a I don't want to say realistic thing, but more immersion.
Also-
that Khajiit's penis looks like Joe's.
Also, fun fact: The Elder Scrolls Morrowind has more interactable NPCs than Oblivion and Skyrim combined.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Because not everybody
Because,
talks.
Yeah, Oblivion and Skyrim have voice acting in them, and Morrowind doesn't, except for maybe a couple characters.
Yeah, like main characters.
Yeah. So they have way more NPCs to interact with because they can just give you a dialogue box and not have to have the same voice actor voice the same fucking Jarl 8 times.
Damn it, Linda Carter.
I was talking about the dude Jarl.
Oh, I was talking about Linda Carter.
Like the first Jarl that you meet, and then like every other Jarl has his voice. Come on, Bethesda.
They're all related, okay?
Digital Extremes has. That's right. Well, I mean, like I know, yeah. Digital Extremes has announced a partnership with developer Panic Button, the studio behind the Switch ports of Doom and Wolfenstein 2, to bring Warframe to the portable console, further proving that Warframe can run on a potato.
Yeah, Steve Sinclair, the head developer of Warframe, has said that everything you have on PC will be in the Switch version.
Also, isn't
everything?
So this was announced at TanaCon.
TanaCon, yeah.
This is the third year they've done it. It's weird that happens on the same week as Guardian Con, which is not a Bungie sanctioned convention.
It is not. This is 100% a Digital Extreme
but
sanctioned
I just
con.
think that
Yeah.
I think that's funny.
Yeah, they also did you put it on here? They announced another open world.
I did not. Yeah, they
announced
have another expansion.
Yeah, another like free, 100% free open world. So like we played Warframe, right? We were doing the Plains of Eidolon. It's really all open, but then all the rest of the game is just mission based stuff. They announced another open world, except it's like on Venus, and it's super steampunky, like neon lights and like really, really fucking cool. They also added hoverboards.
Didn't they announce like a couple new expansions that are coming up?
Yeah, they did. They announced a few. They're continuing the main story of Warframe, which is just fucking phenomenal. They're adding 2 new Warframes over the next year, which is awesome. So it's like,
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So one of the reasons that I couldn't get into Warframe was that the story didn't really make any sense to me.
It's so good.
At least not at the beginning.
There's a story.
Is there a point in the game where the story starts to like make sense, or is it just one of those? Is it like Destiny where you have to like watch a YouTuber talk?
No, once you get once you get a Warframe up to 30 and start getting really good weapons and all that shit, once you farm that grind and that progression, once you get there, you can start opening up all these new stories and then go start playing through the actual story. And it is, man, the fucking story in Warframe is awesome. It's fucking great.
I want to like Warframe, but Warframe in some ways is like the exact opposite of Destiny in the sense that everything about it is so overly complicated.
Sure, yeah,
and
absolutely.
I don't have the patience
to
learn.
100%. Like Warframe is the Dark Souls of Destiny. Not as far as gameplay goes, but as far as how the story is told, it is so.
It's not just the story though. It's
like the
it's like
mechanics, too,
everything.
like-
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
I would say aside from like getting around the map super fast and cool, that's something that you have to learn.
Sure.
But basic combat makes sense to me.
Sure.
It's just like
point and shoot.
You go to like craft something new and it's like there are 7 menus to get this done.
Sure,
and I don't
yeah.
understand what any of this
and the
means.
game doesn't do a good job of telling you how to do all the things. Sure. Yeah, but for the story, it's just a matter of going. That's the thing is, you can't just like go to an NPC, pick up the story, and go do it. You have to go to a codex, pick the story you want to play, then you start activating all these things. But how to progress in stories, you have to have like, you can't just take a level 1 Excalibur and just go do the story. It's just not going to happen. You have to progress. So
I'm surprised it's going to run on Switch though.
I am too.
It seems visually and like with how much stuff like can happen like all in like the same like just spot whenever you're popping all your specials and whatnot.
Sure.
Like that seems like I feel like that would be a lot for the Switch to run.
Maybe.
It's kind of impressive.
I'm not really surprised because Warframe runs on a fairly basic PC.
Well, that's one thing.
And that's basically what the Switch is it was a streaming console, a streaming PC.
That is one thing that I know that the developers do and that's the thing is the developers of Warframe still do every week. They do a live stream where they talk about what they're doing and how they're developing and where they're at in progressions and stuff like that. But the main thing they always say is that they test Warframe on the highest end PC and then they literally test it on a toaster. And so Warframe, the hell is that? Oh, Warframe runs at 60 frames a second on fucking toaster PCs. And so I'm not surprised that it's going to be on Switch too.
Also-
it may not look as pretty as like a high end like when we play it. It may not look like that, but it's still going to look great.
I also just want to
impressive.
put it out there. A former co-host on this podcast insisted that the Switch would be a fucking horrible console and wouldn't be able to run shit. And now, a year later, I'm right.
It's true. It's running
So
some
I
good
just want
shit.
to put it out there that
I'm
this is
here.
another thing that I said.
Justin's here.
That was right. So, long story short, don't count me out. Now, these last two are pretty cool. Well, not cool. One of them's kind of worrying. The other one's all right. But they're pretty long and they're very interesting. During its 78th general shareholder meeting, Nintendo faced questions about the future of Switch and its stance on indie gaming. The official transcript from the meeting has revealed some new information about the future of the Nintendo eShop. Question. These both have direct quotes from the transcript from these meetings. So, question. Indie games have become a hot topic recently. As games made by small-scale developers around the world with relatively low development costs, how will Nintendo integrate these kind of games into its future business strategy? Nintendo Executive Officer Sushimu Tanaka answers,
I would say it's Susumu.
yeah, you're probably right. We are actively engaging with indie developers at video game-focused shows and other events in different regions. Some of the indie games already released have gone on to become million sellers worldwide. In the future, we are looking to release around 20 to 30 indie games on Nintendo Switch per week, and we definitely expect to see some great games among them.
Holy shit, that's a lot of games per week.
Honestly, I feel like that's too much.
This is incredibly worrying for me because I feel like the Xbox and PlayStation marketplaces have already been overrun by shit shovelware, and Steam is a platform to sell shit shovelware. I feel like Nintendo started out the Switch's life cycle in a really unique position to highly curate the content that is going on their platform. Mm-hmm. And they're throwing that all away.
Sounds like the Wii again, except in a digital format.
Yeah.
Instead of having a bunch of fucking white boxes on a GameStop wall, now it's just going to be just trove. It's going to be Steam. It's going to be if you look at fucking new games on Steam, it's just
they just get added daily, and it's just
games
garbage.
upon games upon games, and finding the ones that you want. If you're scrolling through, if you know how to use Steam, just fucking search. But if you're just looking through new games, it's just impossible to find something good.
It defeats the whole purpose of wanting to be kind of like friendly towards like these indie game developers. It's like if you're not going to have a platform to really showcase these like really well made games, if they're just going to be among the 20 or 30 that are getting released every week,
20 to 30 a week. That's the definition of shovelware.
If great games are among these, like they're just
gonna be hard to find.
They're gonna get lost.
Sure.
A part of like what made Nintendo's first year was the fact that it was a very highly controlled platform.
Sure.
And it breathed new life into indie games that were failing on other platforms because they were being buried.
Yes, I agree.
There are so many games that got a second life on Switch and that were able to justify their existence because of the
Yeah,
Switch.
games like Don't Starve, stuff like that.
Yeah, and those things are going to go away
Yep.
because you're putting too much shit on it.
They're not
And
going to go away. They're going to be there. They're just going to be hard
gonna-
as hell to find.
I guess those opportunities are going to go away.
Sure.
Is what I meant. And let's be real for a second. There's a lot of people out there that are complaining about this, that are upset about this, that are expressing concern about this. I am not the first person to do it, although I've been avoiding those conversations to form my own opinion. So I'm not trying to copy anyone. However, one of the things that I don't think I've seen so far in these conversations is that the problem isn't that Switch is going to do this. The problem is that every other platform already does this.
Sure, yeah.
I would guess that, well, Steam for sure, but PlayStation and Xbox probably release more than 40 games or more than 20 to 30 games a week.
Probably.
And how many of those are shit? And how many, like, part of the reason why we don't talk about indie games on this podcast anymore is because finding good indie games is so much harder than it was 5 years ago.
Sure.
I'm sorry, 3 years ago when we started this. It's just plain and simple.
I think we talked about this the last time when we talked about Nintendo and their shareholders and how their shareholders have pulled out a lot because they feel like the Switch is doomed to fail or whatever the hell they're talking about. I don't understand how they feel this way when they have sold over 10 million units within a year all based
17 million units.
17 million units within a year, all based on Legend of Zelda, Mario, and Nintendo games. Don't Starve didn't sell Switch units. Legend of Zelda sold Switch units. So these 20 to 30 indie games that they're planning on releasing on the eShop, that's not going to sell Switch units. Super Smash Brothers that comes out in December is going to sell Switch units.
But like, look,
I just don't understand the shareholders' mindset here.
But look at Whitney too, though. Like, Whitney's a really good example of the typical person that's that had bought a Nintendo Switch last year.
Sure.
The real reason why she owns a Nintendo Switch was for Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, right?
Yes.
A couple months later, she was looking for a game to play, and I was like, "Hey, you should try Stardew Valley." I knew that Stardew Valley was on the game because there was a limited number of releases on the system because there was a limited number of releases coming out. I suggested that game. She fell in love with it, and it was a game that she would have never given a second look if it hadn't been like very prominent on that platform to the point where someone could suggest it to her.
Yep.
Like that's crazy that Whitney is a gamer. She's as much of a gamer as the rest of us are, and probably more than some of us, probably me included. I think she puts more hours into games a week than I do.
I can't tell you how many hours she's put into Fallout Shelter.
But
it's ridiculous.
But she's very much the kind of gamer that's like, hey, I like what I like, and things that attract my attention are usually things that I'm drawn to.
Sure.
So it's just crazy to me that they don't value that experience.
Yeah. There's no incentive to try and develop an indie game to be on like the Switch platform.
Yeah, I mean,
which could be really cool. Like it is so unique or it's so different than Xbox and PlayStation. Like if I'm an indie developer and if I can figure out ways to integrate the Switch specifically into my game, like that's cool, but not if it's going to get lost.
Sure. The issue is here too is that what the fuck am I doing? Yes, we're going to get like. We're still going to get indie games that are worth playing, like Enter the Gungeon from Devolver might go onto the Switch at some point in time. You know what I mean? But they're going to get buried in games like Chicken Shoot. Remember that game on the Wii, or Carnival games, shit like that. And what's going to end up happening is Devolver Digital is not going to want to put their amazing indie games on the Switch anymore because they're not making money off of it.
I mean, the simple truth is that they will put it on there, and what's more,
it might scare developers away. Maybe
I don't think it would scare anyone away, but I think that we were at this point where we could see another like golden age of indie games. That was really happening while the Vita was still somewhat viable as a console option, right? Like the Vita had that curated library that other consoles didn't have. But now we're running into an issue where there is no curated library.
Sure.
There is no one that's keeping track of the games that are worth playing, and there's no one promoting those games. So these smaller developers are going to start to go away. They're going to go the way of B-tier games.
Sure.
It's going to happen after a while.
Sure. I think, I mean, if I was an indie developer and I saw something like this, I wouldn't put development costs into a system that I know I'm not going to sell copies on. That's just my thought process. But I'm not a game developer.
I think at this point, if you're running a basic enough game, you can put it on anything without too much issue.
Sure. Basic enough. Absolutely. Like Enter the Gungeon's a fucking pixel-baked bullet, what is it called?
Bullet Hell.
Bullet Hell. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, and it is a simple game to put on. But I just, a game like what's a game that's on Switch exclusively that's like indie?
The only thing that I can think of off the top of my head, and I don't think it's out yet, is Octopath Traveler.
Okay,
it's being published by a big developer, but I would say it fits sort of.
I thought Octopath was being developed by that N3. That's like a subsidiary of Square. I don't know.
I know Square. I feel like I'm fairly confident that Square Enix.
Either way, do you think? I mean, let's say Square Enix was out of the equation. Would that game 2 years in the future, where the Nintendo eShop is just flooded with shovelware games, do you think we would have seen something like that on Switch, or would they have gone with something like PlayStation or Xbox? You know what I mean?
Well, so I feel like right now,
hypothetically speaking,
I feel like right now the plan is, and I'll go to the two years in the future. I feel like right now the plan is for that game they've been hyping it up on Switch for a really
long time.
It looks great. It looks awesome. It looks incredible. Like, I don't even like JRPGs and I'm interested in it. But I feel like it's going to release on Switch. It's going to do really well on Switch.
Port to PS4.
It'll port to PS4 and Xbox.
Sure.
Xbox One and PC.
Are you dying?
I think I am. Now, that is going to be a viable strategy and it's going to work for them.
Right now,
It's going to do the same thing that God, what is I fucking love this game, but I can't remember it right now. The game that's a lot like Ness's game. I cannot remember
Ness's
anything.
game?
Mother. So you know Ness from Super Smash Brothers.
Okay.
He was in that game.
Home? No.
He was in that game. I don't know.
with
Earthbound.
Ike and-
Earthbound.
Okay.
Yep.
And then there was an indie game that came out that was kind of like very Earthbound inspired. It was a thing with the monsters. You're the boy. It's very pixelated, like kind of black and white. You have like the whole heart meter for the dodging. What is it? What Undertale? There you go. I cannot remember the name of shit today. But the same thing as Undertale. Undertale did the same thing where it released on like one console, or on PC first, got really successful, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Now, if Square Enix tried to do that 2 years from now, that wouldn't happen.
Right.
And whatever special fucking division that they have that are working on this awesome game would fold, and they would never make another game.
Right. And that's the problem at hand with this 30 to 20 to 30 indie games coming out per week, because in 2 years that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And indie developers, the game, an amazing indie game may not ever even get made because of shit like this.
Yep.
So,
Sorry, I ruined that whole conversation.
nope, you're good.
Last but certainly not least, did you have anything to add?
No.
Okay. During the shareholder meeting, Nintendo was asked about crossplay. Again from the transcript. Question: crossplay with other platforms on the Nintendo Switch version of games such as Fortnite and Minecraft has been a point of appeal. Could you talk more about the relationship between Nintendo and other publishers and your initiatives from multi-platform titles? Former Nintendo Tatsumi Kimishima, quote,
Good job.
I will have to refrain from commenting directly about crossplay in Fortnite and Minecraft because those are not Nintendo titles. But I will say that our fundamental way of thinking about offering Nintendo titles on other platforms remains unchanged. Senior Executive Officer, please say the name.
Susumu Tanaka.
Susumu Tanaka. Quote, crossplay basically comes about from conversations between publishers and platform holders. We're inclined to do what we can to help publishers incorporate crossplay when that is what they want. The other parties involved also have a say in whether we are able to reach this outcome or not. So we will continue to discuss it with them. So it's not a huge shock that Nintendo is interested in crossplay. They just released a trailer with Xbox for Minecraft, I think.
Yeah.
That had, survived together in the Xbox screen and the Nintendo Red, and
They've been all over each other.
Yeah.
Like Thousand Island dressing on an In-N-Out burger.
Boom.
I guess it's not surprising, but it's hard for me to not be surprised about the fact that Nintendo is interested in helping developers work on getting crossplay into their games if that's the direction they want to go.
Sure, yeah.
I guess I guess I don't understand why they've changed on this so much. I do and I don't, right?
Well, they said so they can't speak on third-party games right now because they can't because they probably haven't come to terms with publishers and shit like that.
Yeah.
They said earlier they don't plan on changing the way they release Nintendo titles. So
they're talking about indie games,
right? So it's not like we're going to get Super Mario. I mean, we're not going to get Mario Kart on the Xbox, and you guys are going to be able to play Mario Kart too. That's just not going to happen. However, third-party titles and indie titles. It really sounds like they're open to it, which is great.
For me, like I wouldn't say that they're not open to it, but it seemed like just like based on the wording, it's like we're inclined to do this. Basically, it's like the way I took it was if we want these games to be on our system, and if these developers want crossplay, then like we kind of had to play ball.
I think,
which is kind of opposite from what Sony's doing, to where it's like, no, fuck you. Like,
Sure.
Well, I guess my whole thing comes from, one of the most consistent complaints that we've had about Nintendo for the 3 years of this podcast is that they don't know how to have an online service.
They're 10 years behind on online services, easily.
And part of the reason why they're that far behind is because of...
They don't care.
I think it has a lot to do with their desire to, quote, protect children.
Sure.
I think that has a lot to do with it. But one of the issues that you run into with crossplay is that you can't control another system's users.
Sure.
You lose that control.
Sure. Like, I don't know how well Minecraft works on Xbox Switch crossplay. I don't know how well it works. I have no clue.
I would assume pretty well.
Yeah, but like with Nintendo's online infrastructure, I just have such a hard time thinking that some of these games are going to work.
I mean, at this point,
I don't know.
I
have
feel
no
like
clue.
the infrastructure is solid. I know that sounds weird, but from what I understand from people talking about this game, like playing Fortnite or Minecraft or Rocket League on your Switch, the experience isn't worse than playing it on PC
and
or anything else.
And that may be because it's all dedicated servers,
Maybe.
right? Yeah.
To me, I feel like Nintendo's behind on the features aspect.
Sure, yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's crazy that Fortnite has built-in chat, but Splatoon doesn't.
Sure.
Why?
Well, and that's my point is that I think it all depends on how the game is developed, right? So like, let's just say hypothetically, Destiny runs on Switch, and you can cross-play between Switch and Xbox.
Yeah.
I just don't see that happening because of Nintendo's online infrastructure, because it is peer-to-peer. It's not a dedicated server of Destiny that everybody's logging into. Where Minecraft, you log into specific servers wherever the fuck Minecraft is, and Switch and Xbox just have to connect to those two things and you can play
Well-
together. If a game has peer-to-peer anything, I just don't ever see it happening.
But at that point, but we've talked about this before. Like the reality is that Destiny's kind of behind the curve, anyways.
Sure, because they are
Like,
peer-to-peer. I
who
agree.
is using
yes.
peer-to-peer?
Yeah, I agree.
Most games that we're talking about are using
Sure,
dedicated
sure.
servers. So yeah,
And that's
peer-to-peer
and
sense,
I'm
you
sure
might
that's
be right.
I'm sure that's a money saver. I'm sure dedicated servers is unbelievably expensive. I would assume. I don't know. I'm not a game developer, so I have
but
fucking
it's
clue.
I would imagine.
You know what's crazy? So my PC can have full Wi-Fi, be connected. Every other game will work and be fine. But lately, I've been having a problem where unless I have a direct line in on my PC to the router, Destiny won't let me log in. Because for whatever reason, since it's peer-to-peer, it like just doesn't trust my computer because it's
Sure,
running on
yeah,
Wi-Fi.
somebody. Yep, it's so fucking dumb. Whatever.
That's just like the stupid firewall settings and stuff.
Maybe.
But I don't think it is. I feel like it's Destiny because every other game works.
Just depend. I've had problems with
Yeah.
firewall things
Yeah.
and doing just computers are great when they work. And
Sure.
they're beyond stupid when they don't.
Again, I love PC gaming, but I love PC gaming from a single player perspective. I am not an advocate for PC gaming when it comes to online multiplayer games.
Well,
just
but-
not an
But
advocate of it.
at the same time, like it's sort of similar to the issues I was having on PS4 as well.
Sure, but that was more the PS4. Like, I think Whitney's wireless card on that PS4 is just shit. I think it is.
Maybe.
But anyway,
I don't know enough about either thing
Sure.
to have a confident
talk
answer,
to
but
Chris
I would
Santos
guess you're
about it.
probably
That guy
right.
knows everything about computers. It's ridiculous.
Topic of the week. If you are adverse to Destiny conversation, now's a good time to dip out. Go like, follow, subscribe, do all that stuff. And we'll see you next week. But if you do like Destiny, I kind of want to talk a little bit about one of the things that I'm curious about, and we may have talked about this before, so I'm sorry if we retread up old conversation. I want to get with Justin and figure out why Destiny didn't stick for him. But I also want to figure out, like, kind of as a group, what we would like to see from Destiny in a world where we could change as much about it as we wanted to. So Justin, you're up first. What is it about Destiny that just didn't keep you? Why isn't it doing it for you?
I never bought into the gameplay loop of the whole thing. Like I enjoyed playing through the story. I enjoyed when everything was new, but I had no desire to continue to play the same things over and over again simply to get better guns. And just for the fact of getting like that better gun.
And so just for context, like what is your history with kind of grindy RPGs like that? Like do you enjoy those kind of games in general, or are they just things that like don't keep you?
Not traditionally. I mean, like I enjoyed Diablo whenever I played Diablo.
And how much when did you stop playing Diablo? Like were you grinding out for higher gear at the end, or did you just stop when you beat Diablo?
No,
Spoilers, the enemy in Diablo 3 is Diablo.
no, like I continued to play after the end. But even then, it was more so because I had friends to play with too. Mm-hmm. So
Chris like got a kick out of that.
Well, that's like saying spoilers. Marinara sauce has tomatoes. It's like
Diablo shows up. It's I don't know what it is necessarily about Destiny.
Because you like Halo, right? And you're into
Yeah.
shooters.
Yeah. But
the PvP didn't do anything for you. I'm not trying to make you like it. I guess I'm just trying to explore all the aspects.
You
of
better
it.
fucking like it.
Better fucking love this
the
game,
PvP
Justin.
I enjoyed, and not even just because of like the custom matches and stuff. Like that was my favorite part about Halo, was doing all the custom matches with friends and stuff. But even just regular PvP, I liked it because there wasn't all this like different gear that suddenly makes you like better than like other people, or like this gun does this thing which is better because the recoil's less, and that, like there's just too much. Like I prefer like simplified things to where you could get really good at something just by playing it, basically.
Well, like the joke about Destiny is that there's really only 2 or 3 good guns, and the rest are all the same.
Yeah.
Very true.
But there's so much. I feel like it's bloated and artificially made to make you work really, really hard to get, like you said, those just few games that you want.
Bloated's an interesting word. Because I think that when we talk about bloated games, we talk about games that have too much in them, right? I do agree with the artificial grind. That is 100%. I think that's the case that we've been driving for the last 5 weeks. But bloated is an interesting word because I don't think that the community would agree with that sentiment. So what about the game?
What do you mean by bloated again?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking for clarification for. What about the game makes it seem bloated to you? Is it the grind that seems bloated, or is it the amount of stuff
That's the difference between Trey and I. Straight to the point and lots of words.
Well, I'm trying to explain, like,
what do you mean by bloated?
I'm trying to give context to the question. That's how a good interviewer does it, Chris.
Let me ask you these questions. Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
What do you mean by bloated?
We've only been here for 30 seconds.
Why
I
is
don't
your
know
hair
what
black?
genetics.
What's your favorite
What do
color?
you mean by bloated?
Cheese.
Why are you bloated?
Cheese. No, like specifically for Destiny, or I guess what I meant by bloated was just the amount of stuff that you get that just means nothing. Especially even like right now, how you're doing hours and hours of, I'll call it work, but you're playing a video game.
Sure.
But you're doing so much stuff, and you're getting stuff that just means nothing. Even in the game, you're like, this means nothing to your character.
So,
like,
Chris and I have had this argument on the podcast a bunch of times because Chris is the type of person that if he has a 340 gun and he really likes that gun, he will use that gun even if he's at 370. For me, I will use a gun I hate over a gun I love if it has a higher power level, because in my mind that makes me more effective, even though that I can rationalize the fact that Chris is right. Chris is correct. The difference with the damage output difference between a 340 weapon and a 370 weapon isn't that big. Does that knowledge change any of the ways that you feel about the game? Like the fact that you could still equip a gun that you like, even if it's not doing much to your, well, it doesn't seem to be doing much to your stats, or does that just make it seem more complicated?
For me, it makes it just seem more complicated because whenever I did play Destiny 2, I had the struggle of like, well, I feel like this gun does a lot, like, like this pulse rifle or whatever. Like I feel like this does a lot, but then there's like, this legendary weapon that is supposed to be better, but whenever I shoot with it, I just feel like I'm not doing very much. Like, or it only shoots like once because it's like a I don't know, like a hand cannon or something, or with like I don't know. There's a lot to it, and I feel like it doesn't need to be that complicated.
So what you would want from Destiny 2 is for them to take out a lot of this weird complicatedness that comes with the game.
Yes,
that would keep you going with it.
I think so, because it's fun. Like, and kind of like how Chris was talking about, like, it's fun to play. Like whenever I did play Destiny, I legitimately had fun. And the reason that I stopped playing, but you guys kept going, is because you guys bought into the progression. And for me,
we bought into it 2 years ago.
Yeah, but for me, it was like the fun was over. It was like, okay, like I played it. I got the weapons that I wanted. I finished the story. I never did the raid because I didn't really have a group of people to do the raid with. But I enjoyed playing the game. It's just this, like I said, it's almost like it feels like a job if you want to get like all of these better weapons and the things that if you ask someone like what the goal of Destiny would be, like you're trying to get, like, why would you play Destiny if you're not going to get these god tier weapons, you know?
Yeah, I think that also comes down to like a little bit of over exaggeration about the game, because I don't think there really are any god tier weapons anymore in Destiny. There are some weapons that are better in some situations than others. Like right now, two pulse rifles, Vigilance Wing, and two exotic pulse rifles, Vigilance Wing, and Graviton Lance are absolutely destroying in PvP. But there are other guns that work just as well that aren't exotics and are legendaries. And I don't even think when we've been playing, either of us have used those two guns.
Battle Scar is my favorite pulse rifle. It's a purple one that it doesn't. Its initial perk is its inherent perk is it fires a full auto. I mean, I don't think a lot of people really, and I don't know. I think Destiny 2 Vanilla, I think, did a great job of making, I don't want to say every weapon feel viable, but I can go into PvP with Battle Scar that's not Graviton Lance and Vigilance Wing and still compete, still be good. And there are certain weapons that definitely stand out, you know, Better Devils, Graviton Lance, Vigilance Wing, Nameless Midnight, Nightshade. A lot of these guns that are the meta, or Mida multi-tool, these games that are quote unquote meta aren't because they just, I don't think there's such thing as a meta in Destiny. I think a meta in Destiny is 100% in people's heads.
Not OP, but they do give you a little bit of an advantage.
Sure, maybe they give you a bit of an advantage, like
it's not like in Destiny.
Yeah, like
1.
Graviton Lance. It's a 2-shot instead of a 3-shot, but the amount of time it takes you to get 2 shots off with Graviton Lance, I can get 3 shots off with Battle Scar. So and also like
it's not the Thorn meta.
It's not the Thorn meta, and also like let's be completely honest.
Awful.
The difference between a 0.8 time to kill and a 1.2 time to kill is 4 milliseconds.
And it doesn't really matter in a team shoot.
Does
PvP.
not matter in any way, shape, or form. So, and again, to me, my personal opinion, I don't speak for this podcast, but the problem with Destiny are streamers. They're the ones that are telling people you need to use Mida Multi-Tool because that's the easiest way to get kills in PvP. You need to use Graviton Lance in PvP because it's only 2 shots. You need to do this. You need to do this. Blah, 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 blah. Daniel and I had this conversation the other day as like, a small amount of people that you run into of Destiny, it's like, holy shit, I got killed with Mida Multi-Tool. It's like, that guy listens to the internet too much. And then next thing I know, Daniel's using Mida Multi-Tool. It's like, Daniel is the internet when it comes to Destiny. He definitely listens to the overall and buys into the overall, this is what you need to do to succeed in Destiny. And that's not bad. It's just, that streamer mentality. It's like, you know, that's a problem, is that to streamers, it is their job. Destiny is their job. And so Destiny has become a job, but Destiny can't be a job to us. It just can't be. It needs to be a video game because that's what it is. Destiny 2 is a video game where we all go to work and we come home at 5 o'clock at night and we sit down on our couch after we eat some dinner and we play a fucking video game. We play something where we jump in to have fun, see our character progress, and be done by 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night so we can all go to bed and do this whole fucking cycle over again. But unfortunately, Bungie has listened to people who consider Destiny a job, and they have made Destiny a job. So unless we can commit 8 to 12 hours of our day to this fucking game, then we're not going to get anything out of it. Period. We're just not. And so that feeling that you have, it's Bungie's fault. Mm-hmm. It's Bungie's fault because they listen to people who Destiny is their job. And again, is Forsaken going to make it better? Maybe, but we're getting fucking random rolls. Like, what the fuck, man? I don't have time to go chase a fucking god tier weapon, because that's what's going to happen. Where Destiny 2, as of right now, vanilla, all the weapons are curated to be something. Everything's viable. But guess what? When a random roll comes out, there's going to be one version of that gun that is going to be way better than every other one. And I don't have the time to go fucking chase that gun, which is going to make me less viable in PvP, PvE, Gambit, whatever the hell it is. I'm going to be 100% less viable because Bungie doesn't fucking care. Except they go on their Vidocs. Every Vidoc they come out with, we want to make Destiny a hobby. It's like, you need to go look up the term hobby and decide what you've actually made your game. Because a hobby is something you do for fun and you do on the side. Whitney and I collect collectibles as a hobby. We don't go to Target every day and spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars and hours of our time searching for these things. We go on the weekends because that's when we have time to go search for collectibles. It's a hobby. Collecting comic books is a hobby. I go on Wednesday to go buy whichever comic books I want, and then I'm done. I read my comic books as a hobby. I don't own a comic book shop. Does that make sense? I don't own Heroes and Fantasy, so comic books aren't my job. They're my hobby. But unfortunately, Bungie doesn't know the fucking meaning of the term hobby. So they're making Destiny a hobby. But what they're really doing is making Destiny a hobby for streamers who go full time playing video games. And it's fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Before I move over to Chris, I do want to ask one last question. One of the things that you had kind of talked about a little bit last week was that you seem to be interested in Forsaken. Do you still feel that way? Like, a week later, are you still interested in buying it? And if you are, like, what's drawing you back towards Destiny 2 and Forsaken specifically?
The thing that was drawing me towards what is it? Forsaken. Is I guess not really like, it's not really like any of the changes they're making to the game as far as like mechanics or anything, because I don't care about any of that. It's more so just like the added story, the added just like kind of like the added little like fun things that I would get to do. And then once I would complete those, then I wouldn't care about doing the whole grind thing. It's like I want to be able to play a game and do the things that I want to do and get rewarded for them. I don't want to have to play a game, do the thing that I want to do, and then it's like, okay, well, you got the milestone for the week. And then it's like, okay, well, but I don't want to play those other things. Why can't I just play this thing? Like, I'm still playing your game. Why can't I play the mode in the game that I want to play? Like, why do I
still progress?
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's like that, and that's what I like about like games like Overwatch and Rocket League. It's like I can literally play the game, doesn't matter what mode or whatever, and I'm getting some sort of progression.
Sure, that's not hard. Like I was having a conversation with Daniel Tuesday before Trey, or when Trey was anyway. I think it was while you were showering. We were having a quick conversation. I was saying, it's like, listen, the ability to progress as a character is already in Destiny. Everything that I think should be there, and I'm phrasing that I think. I may be the minority here, but everything that I think should be there is already there. But Bungie, again, so like the Heroic Strike playlist, just fucking drop stuff at a higher light level. Every 3 Heroic Strikes give me something powerful. It's not fucking
strike streaks.
Yeah, it's not fucking hard. It's not. But instead, guess what they did? Oh, we're going to give you powerful stuff up to 360. Well, that doesn't fucking help anybody. That does not help.
They did it a month after the game came out.
Where everybody was already at 360.
The people that gave a shit were.
And so, sure. Well, there you go. There's your easier way to level up. No, it's fucking not, because you're still forcing me to do something that I literally cannot do because I don't have the time to do it. And this is coming from somebody who has spent, I bought the original collector's edition. I bought the fucking PS4 Destiny when it fucking came out. The Destiny 2 collector's edition. A second copy of Destiny and second copy of Destiny 2 for Whitney. And I'm planning on spending $80 on Forsaken. But they won't listen to me. They listen to the people that they actually give codes to. I remember when Destiny 2 came out, Gathalion was talking about buying his own copy of Destiny 2 from a different region so he could play earlier before he started playing
You said that the other day. That's not what happened. What happened was they all got their codes and they allowed the people with the codes, including IGN and the reviewing websites, to get in at the same time as a different region. So all these people who they gave codes to had like a 14-hour start on the game while we're waiting till 1 o'clock in the morning to play.
Again, gave codes to.
We purchased the game and we had to wait in a queue to go play.
People who haven't spent money on this fucking game get privileges that people who have don't.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not unheard of, and it's not a precedent that's being set by the gaming industry. It's just something that it's just something that now that Twitch and streaming games has become popular, it's starting to bleed into the hobbies that we enjoy.
But here's what is unheard of, though. These people go out and they make a living off of trashing this game for 8 fucking months, talking shit about it, basically forcing Bungie's development team to completely change everything that they had been planning to do to accommodate these people. And then 8 months later, they invite those people, just those people, to a summit about the game to discuss the game. They have millions of their players interact through their app. Millions of players fucking play their game. Even people who don't interact through the game, through the app, play the game. Mm-hmm. You're telling me that you can't have a fucking poll in your game? Mm-hmm. Hey, how do you guys feel about random rolls?
How hard is it?
Instead, they got 100 people who make money off this game, who got free codes, who haven't given a shit about it, who get on their streams and scream like fucking babies about random rolls. And you ask their opinion, and they're like, "Well, the majority of people wanted random rolls."
Insulting.
Of course, they did because they wanted money.
Yeah.
They want to make money off of this.
Insulting the head developers.
Yeah,
to their face, talking to them like they're children.
It sounds like Bungie is. I mean, it goes back to the principle of bad publicity is still publicity. You know, like these people who, yes, they're shit talking the game. They're still just talking about the game.
Sure, but unfortunately what's happening here, and is if you follow video games in any way, shape, or form, you'll see that every other company is doing the exact opposite of what Bungie's doing. Mm-hmm. When Massive and Ubisoft came out with The Division, it was a mess. I loved that game to death, but it was a fucking mess. They changed it and they made it better. Would you like to know how they made it better? They didn't invite their Ubisoft star players to take fucking Summit to go do that. They literally asked everybody that follows them on every platform before you open the fucking game. There was something that said, "Hey, please go to this link and tell us what you think." They asked the entire fucking community how to improve The Division. And now look what we have. We have The Division, which if you were to go buy that game right now, it is one of the best games you can play as far as a kind of RPG shooter goes. So literally one of the best.
So here's a question. A question that I think is really easy to kind of throw to the side. But the reality is that as I listen to this conversation, not only have we had it 1,000 times as individuals outside of the microphones, but it's also a conversation that we've had over the course of the last, since 7 months. Since the first week of this podcast, we've talked about this.
Sure.
Since Twin Stick Guardians, we've talked about this. The argument hasn't changed. The way that we felt haven't changed. So the question that I guess I'm left with now is, why are we still playing this game?
I don't know.
That's my question that I feel like posing every time.
I don't know. And I haven't logged in for 2 days.
Which is a long time for you.
It is. I got up, we played Tuesday. I wasted that time on Tuesday. I got up on Wednesday. I got some work done. About 1 o'clock, I was done doing everything I needed to do. And I sat down in the chair and I turned on my PlayStation and Destiny 2's right there. I just fucking passed it. Mm-hmm. This morning in the same way. I went and had breakfast with my dad. I came back. I had about an hour before we needed to do all this. I sat down and Destiny's right there. Daniel's on playing Destiny 2. One of my good friends playing Destiny is on. I scrolled right past it. I don't know why I'm playing this game right now. I don't.
I mean, like-
I'm having a shit ton of fun when I do play it.
But like, I guess like going off that story though, are you at? Obviously not, because September 4th is coming out.
I mean, yeah.
So
But then there's new stuff to do.
Sure,
but
and that's
like-
great.
But I feel like I can talk about my own personal reasons, but I feel like even when we have the new stuff to do, even if it appeases us in some way, we're still the general way that Bungie treats its community and the way that they look at their streamers and kind of put them on a pedestal and call them pinnacle players.
Pinnacle players.
But
Assholes.
But the fact that like they think that these people are the end all be all, that's not going to change. Forsaken's not changing that.
Nope.
It's not changing the fact that they're listening to a subreddit full of whiny babies and not listening to the people that like the game.
Right.
So I don't know, where does that put you? Like,
I don't know. Like, so for, like you said, in Forsaken, this is something that's been confirmed, is that the end game of Forsaken is going to change. So like there's this new thing called the Dreaming City that as players progress in whatever the hell it is, it's going to change. And only the pinnacle players can be there to experience it. So there's going to be things that may be there in week 1 that aren't there in week 3 that we are going to miss out on because we are not pinnacle players. We don't have the time to get 6 of our friends together to go experience this content. And you are now going to, this is hypothetically speaking because we don't know exactly how this is going to work. But from their wording, they're literally going to make it to where those of us who play this game like a hobby, like they want, are going to miss out on content because we weren't there week 1 to experience it.
Yeah.
So-
I'm giving you money.
Yeah, and see, and it doesn't sound like this. Like they're, I don't think they're doing this just for the streamers or just for the people who make it a job. I think this is, going back to what I said earlier, it's just another method of doing an artificial grind. By putting something just barely out of reach, it's like, well, if you played a little bit longer or worked a little bit harder, then you could go to this dream city and see all this cool shit.
I mean,
and it's like whenever you're there, it like honestly, it would probably equate to nothing. Like that, what happens in this
Maybe
town.
we don't know. We don't know
Exactly.
Sure,
But like what I'm saying is like it's just more of this artificial grind of like not necessarily giving you more to do, but
it's prolonging the experience for the people that have 12 hours to play this game every day.
And this is why I feel like the grind in Destiny is something that turned me off as opposed to other games, because other games I can do things and I can gain XP and that levels up my character.
Sure,
I could do that from
feel the
level
progression.
1 to level 20 no matter what I was doing in Destiny.
Sure.
And I was leveling up and that was so much fun. But everyone, especially people like hardcore Destiny players, everyone blew through the game in the first week. So after the first month of the game coming out, it's like, well, shit, there's no more to do.
Sure.
So then they have to just add these.
But we didn't.
Right. They had to add these probably very like minuscule things at the end of the game that you have to work really, really hard to maybe get to go and see.
I mean, I guess for me, like, there's a certain level of acceptance that I have to do when I walk into any MMO. And I don't walk into MMOs a lot. There was a point that I had to get with Destiny 1 where I just had to accept the fact that I wasn't going to complete everything in that game. There were some exotic quests that I wasn't a good enough player to complete.
Sure.
There were raids that I wasn't willing to grind. There was a raid I wasn't willing to grind to go play. There were just things that I couldn't do as a player. And those things kind of exist in Destiny 2 to a certain degree. Like, I don't foresee myself ever playing a prestige raid. That doesn't sound fun to me. But I think that part of my thing with Destiny and the reason why I keep playing it, and again, it goes back to that unhealthy relationship that I have with the game, is that as much as I like Destiny 2 as a base product, part of the reason why I've stuck with it so long is that to me, it is a bastion of potential. It's not that the game is perfect or even really good right now. It's that it has the potential to get better. And I'm also at a place where I had invested time in a Guardian and was able to transfer him
Sure.
over, even though that was not really transferring him over.
Sure. I mean, we do have day one Guardians.
Even furthering your analogy of it being a bad relationship,
but
you hope it's going to get better, even though they've shown you no examples of it ever
they
getting
have
better.
though.
Sure.
Like, but they that's the thing though. They have like
Well, with like the Taken King.
let me
sure.
tell you, but let me tell you my experience with Destiny. Chris and I met shortly after Destiny came out. We were both really into it until about December, and then the first expansion came out, and Chris fell off.
Yep.
I kept playing. I kept playing in December. Every week, I would get on with a random group of people and raid. I played through May when was the first content drought in Destiny. I played through May to September again, the second worst content drought in Destiny. Taken King came out, and I still believed in the game in year one. But Taken King came out, and it did everything I wanted it to do for that game. It changed the game in such fundamental ways. It made the game better and in such awesome ways. That year two of Destiny was a magical time. Then we got through January.
That's when I got back in as well.
Yes. Then we got through January, and I realized we're not getting any more content until September.
Almost a year.
We were supposed to get Destiny 2. And sure, we had a couple events here and there. We got a new strike in like April. But, that time from September to September, there wasn't really anything happening for the game.
Yep.
And even though that was an amazing expansion, it was just this fucking drought that was awful. And then Rise of Iron came out, and it was, in my opinion, one of the worst DLCs for that game.
Okay, at best.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
Not worth $40.
Yeah.
$30. But I stopped playing after that. I dropped off, and I didn't play from like December. I planned on maybe jumping in and doing the raid, doing the year 3 triumphs, but I didn't. I don't even think I turned the game on.
Yeah,
again.
you did. You jumped in at some point in time and actually finished your emblem. You finished the triumphs.
I did it
you
for
have,
year 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because
I
you
did
have
for year
the really
3.
cool.
I had the first year one.
Yeah,
that was one of those times where I finished the year.
Yeah.
I finished the year 1 triumphs,
Yeah.
and Chris gave up on the last one because Skolas was a fucking bitch. And I'm telling you, like, I hate hard things. And I finished the first moments of triumph. I put up with it. I probably grinded that section like 100 times for maybe 30 or 40 hours. Mm-hmm. That was how committed I was to the game after year 1. And Chris had jumped in after House of Wolves, before Taken King. And he was like, "I'm not doing this, Trey. I'm just not." I remember we had done it for like one day.
Yep.
I think we did it with TJ.
Yep, it was the 3 of us, and we just couldn't do it.
And you dropped out,
Yep.
and I think we got someone else, and me and TJ finished it together. Because CJ had finished it before.
Yeah.
That was how committed I was to the game. And then year 3 happened, and I dropped off, and there was another content drought until the April update when they added in all this stuff. So long story short, I hadn't really played Destiny for almost a year by the time that Destiny 2 came out. I like Osiris. I like Warmind. But part of the reason why I stick through is because I don't like MMOs. I really don't. I don't like these grindy games. I don't like games where there's like this weird progression. And a lot of them aren't shooters, and I'm not interested in that. It just doesn't work for me. But the reason why I keep playing Destiny 2 is that I'm invested in a way that I haven't been invested in one of these games in a really long time. I really care about the story. I like the world. I think the universe is incredible, and I keep waiting for that potential. I do, and it sucks to be in that place as a player. It sucks to be on the side of like, when is this going to be the thing that I thought it was going to be? When is it going to get to that point? And I know at the end of the day, Forsaken's not going to do that. Mm-hmm. Forsaken's going to improve the game, I think. I think it'll very much be like Taken King, but Taken King was like it was a golden step for a turd. It really was. It was great, but it was great in the context of what Destiny was. Mm-hmm. And I think Forsaken's going to do that too. And I don't know what I'm going to do, because I think I will always have this relationship with Destiny, because I don't expect it to change in any substantial way. Mm-hmm. I don't expect it to provide the story I want it to. I don't expect it to provide the gameplay that I want it to. But I don't see myself giving up on it until Bungie stops making it.
Sure. It's hard to quit something like that whenever you've put so much time into it.
And in all that being said, like, it's not like I didn't have fun, right?
Of course.
I have a combined like almost 600 hours of gameplay from PC, Destiny 2, and Destiny 1. Almost 600 hours. It's not that I
God,
didn't have fun.
I have to be above 1,000.
Oh, yeah.
I'm almost at 1,000.
That's it's amazing.
But
Astonishing.
I mean, over 5 years, 4
Regardless.
years. Yeah.
it's just that I wonder the kind of fun I would have had with something like Division had I gotten into it.
Sure. So then
Or Warframe or any of the other games.
The problem is well, again, at least in my mind, the problem is streamers in their community. We would get things like that if people would just accept the game that Bungie made in year one.
And they did that in year one of Destiny.
No, I mean,
No.
sure.
But it's like different sides of the coin, right?
Sure.
Because in year one, everything sucked. But
Yeah.
that's how Dado and Gathalion got popular.
Yeah.
Because they were playing that game with a small community of supporters who loved their content. And so by the time the Taken King came out,
Sure.
they were on the top of the list.
Yeah.
They played through the shittiest time in Destiny.
Yeah.
And they can't even recognize the fact that year two of Destiny has been so much better than
Yeah,
year one.
but and
of
that's the
Destiny
thing.
1.
That's the thing is Destiny 2. If the streamers in that community, and again, I understand that we stream weekly on Tuesdays and stuff like that. However, there's a. It's going to sound really bad, but this is how I feel. So, people who follow streamers like Ninja and Gathalion, and they easily brainwashed into thinking exactly the way these streamers think. Does that make sense? It's impossible for somebody who really, really is invested in a streamer to form their own opinions. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. So anything King Gathalion says is fucking Bible. That happens a lot. When Gathalion was literally talking to Luke Smith like a child, people were like, yeah, he is just dumb and blah, blah, blah. It's like, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous how this man is talking to another grown man on the internet and people are supporting
Someone
it.
who's his friend.
Sure, somebody who is his friend. Anyway, my point being is that if they would have literally taken a step back and looked at Destiny 2 and just accepted Destiny 2 the way Bungie developed this game, there's nothing wrong with Destiny 2. Nothing. PvP is not bad. Weapons are not bad. Story is, I mean, it's not there, but Bungie's terrible at telling story. That's a weird thing. Bungie's amazing at making a world
yeah.
and terrible at telling a story in it.
I will say though, like I have really enjoyed doing all the story stuff again in Destiny 2.
I think it's great. It is. It's like a lot of it's
Like,
really great.
I thought
It's so much more improved than Destiny 1.
I thought the Crimson War was great. I
Yeah.
thought all the adventures were good.
But if people would have sat back and just accepted Destiny for the game Bungie made, Trey and I, who are actually paying money for this game, where they are not, people who complain about this game who didn't spend money on it are not. They did not spend money. The people who did spend money want story content, want to flesh out the world, want to hear more about these guardians and the traveler and the darkness and all these things. However, we don't get that. Would you like to know why? Because Destiny's been broken since day one, according to streamers, according to Gathalion and Dado. It's been broken. It's a game that needs to be fixed. So Bungie has to go in there and fix, quote unquote, all the things wrong, quote unquote, with Destiny. Nothing is wrong with it.
See, but
Literally nothing is wrong with this game.
I feel like I'm not going to say you're wrong. I personally feel like you're putting blame more so on the streamers whenever I feel like 99.9% of the blame falls on Bungie. Bungie is a company that made a game, and it is up to them whether or not they change it or not. Streamers or these very popular Twitch streamers or whatever they're streaming on, they can say whatever they want, but if Bungie decides not to change their game, they can either continue to play it and complain about it and people are going to watch or not, or they're going to move on to a different game. Bungie is using these streamers for publicity. Sure, they're inviting these. Why pay millions and millions of dollars to run commercials and ads and all these other things whenever you could just invite 100 people to go and do this thing and then they talk to their 500,000 followers or whatever? It saves money on their part. But Bungie doesn't have to change the game for them.
But they are.
They are, but that's Bungie's doing. You can't blame the streamers for having opinions.
But so I agree with you. I think that what you said is very true. On the other hand, though, when you have these big names in Destiny that are turning the crowd's opinions in their favor, and creating this uproar on Reddit that I do think is a result of them and on their forums and everything else, you start to pigeonhole Bungie into a position where, say they had completely different plans for what year one looked like as far as updates went. Say they were going to add in more story stuff. They were going to add in a couple new strikes or do whatever the fuck they wanted to do. The story wouldn't be Destiny's gotten better over time by adding in new content and new guns and new blah, 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 all for free. The story would be Bungie's not listening to their community. Their community wants all this stuff and they refuse to do all this stuff. And look at these guys that aren't listening to their community. Because the reality is that go on Reddit and post a positive fucking post about Destiny and watch it get downvoted.
I don't think that people who watch streamers necessarily, and this is a generalization, of course, but I don't think that they all change their opinions to match what the streamer is saying.
I'm not saying all of them do. I think a huge majority will.
I think that people who are watching these streamers are people that would naturally agree with these or have these opinions themselves.
But I don't feel that way.
I think you watch people that you agree with or that you relate to.
But look at random rules, though. Random rules is something that we as a community in Destiny 1 had decided a long time ago we hated.
Yep.
It was one of the most bitched about things on the Destiny subreddit since the inception of that game. Mm-hmm. Everyone hated random rolls.
Everyone, Justin.
So what did Bungie do? Listen to their community.
Took it out.
No more random rolls. We're going to have guns with intrinsic perks. They're all going to be the same. Everything's going to be fine. Game comes out. Did exactly what the community wanted.
It's great. And it's great.
Then a month later, Datto starts bitching about it on his channel. About the fact that there's no grind. There's nothing to grind for. Gothalion bitches about the fact that he can't have Uriel's gift with Outlaw or Firefly. And sure, maybe that opinion didn't change everyone's mind who believes that, but it changed enough minds. And those people went on Destiny and the Destiny subreddit and talked about it. And the people who were on the fence, who didn't really have an opinion, or who just maybe saw the logic in the argument, which is something to be said, they changed their opinions too. And so over time, that opinion spread. Meanwhile, the rest of us who were there in the fucking the worst years of Destiny 1 are like, we hated this.
Yep.
I still hate it. I don't want it back.
Yep.
Why isn't anyone listening to me? And you in these forums now exist on this fucking upvote like and dislike system. So if you don't have a popular opinion, you get sent to the bottom.
Yep, you get downvoted to hell.
No one gives a shit about your opinion because it's all the way down to the bottom. You think Bungie's looking at the negative fucking voted comments?
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, I don't think they're looking at any of the comments.
I think they do. Yeah, I think they do.
The way I feel about like online like reviews and forums and stuff like that, it's you're always going to see the negative things on top. It's just like people who go to
not on Reddit.
I mean, not like the most downvoted things. I mean, like the people who complain about things. Nobody goes on like a Google review site and leaves good reviews for restaurants and stuff.
You're not wrong.
Sure.
Like the people,
so yes, these people complained and everything, but again, I think sure maybe all like this minority, the loud minority of the Destiny subreddit or the forums were complaining and that they wanted random rolls back. Maybe that gave Bungie the idea, but I still feel like they just do things like that to make the artificial grind. So if people could grind all these things and do all these milestones to get these weapons, they were getting to the end. But now if they have random rolls, then it makes their game last even longer.
So the reason the artificial grind is there is for the people who can play 12 hours a day every day of the week. That's why it's there.
It's to keep people coming back.
No,
I don't think they're going to.
No, it is not to keep people coming back because I did not come back this week because I don't have the time to do that.
But you will.
I mean,
no, I won't. I don't have 12 hours in a day to fucking do this.
Not that you will have time, but that you will come back.
But
because it's
maybe,
it's
but
that relationship.
But to your point, like if you take I don't want to say blame, but I'm just gonna say it anyway. If you take blame and you focus blame onto one thing, sure, Bungie has the choice to say, yeah, you know what, we're not going to listen to the streamers or we're not going to do the blah blah blah. Unfortunately, though, when a streamer says something, IGN reports on it, and Kotaku reports on it, and fucking Forbes reports on it, and Fox News and CNN start reporting on it if it gets big enough. And there's your negative press for Bungie. So unfortunately, the streamers are the vocal minority that will get everybody to at least report. IGN and Kotaku, of course, are not going to agree or disagree with whoever it is. Maybe the writer will in an opinion piece, but in a journalistic piece, they're not going to form an opinion. However, they are going to report on the fact that there's a shit ton of negative press coming out of Destiny 2, which is forcing Bungie's hand to make a freaking decision and to go in the decision of the vocal minority. So yes, it is the streamer's fault.
In your defense, though, I do see what you're saying about the grind, though, because it's the same conversation we had, and I think even Bungie said this before. The reality is that people were hitting the level cap pretty quickly pre Curse of Osiris, and they were still hitting it pretty quickly post Curse of Osiris. Streamers hated it because it didn't give them enough to do. That is a true fact.
Which means they lost money when playing Destiny because there wasn't anything to do, so people didn't watch them play it. They lost money.
However, Bungie, I believe Bungie did say this too, that part of the reason why the grind is the way it is now is because of the amount of players that they saw drop off. And so they changed it, hoping to encourage people to come back and keep playing every week to keep population counts up. So as much as I think it's both sides. I think it's side number one is that people are complaining about it. People are complaining that it's too easy, which is why all these stupid artificial things were changed that didn't matter, that we didn't hate. But the second part of it is that you are right. They want to keep people coming back and playing.
But that's the thing is the artificial grind isn't needed to get people to come back and play. It's not. We stayed in heroic strikes at max level in Destiny 1 for hours on end because they were worth fucking playing. There was just, it's a piece of armor to chase. That's all it is. That's all you have to add.
Yep.
That's it.
You're right. And it's the same argument I made from the beginning. I've said
I'm
this.
not mad at you guys. But I'm yelling, so I apologize.
We've said this.
Passion.
I've said this since fucking day one of Twin Stick Guardians. The issue is not random rolls. The issue has never been random rolls. The issue is not the grind. The issue is not the worthless gear. Or the issue is the worthless gear. That's what it is. You know how you fix the grind in Destiny? You add more weapons that do cool shit. You add in exclusive gear that is actually obtainable.
Yep.
You add in cool things like catalysts, which are cool.
They are. They're great.
They're great. You give people a reason to jump in and play, and you reward them properly for doing it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't finish my fucking Polaris Lance exotic quest and get a 340 exotic.
Yep.
That is ridiculous. I was like 370 when I got it.
Yep.
Who in their right mind thought that was okay? In Destiny 1, when I finally got my Thorn, when I finally grinded for that Thorn, it dropped at the highest power level because that's what exotics did. Exotics were worthwhile because they dropped at the highest level. You had to have one exotic in each slot to hit max power level or light level.
And again, it's I'm not a game developer, but making this artificial grind to where you do have to log into Destiny 12 hours a day to actually do it is not the way to prolong a game. It's just not.
It's 12 hours a day if you have the if your goal is to complete everything, or have this completionist attitude.
But where I was getting to is I don't have time to play 12 hours a day. I have time to play maybe 4 hours a day, 3, maybe 4 times a week, maybe a bit longer on a Saturday and a Sunday. Sure. I've got more time than most people do to play this game, which I completely accept and, acknowledge. But you want me to log into that game every day of the week? You give me something to go for. You give me a piece of armor that only drops from a specific strike, so I have to jump into your strike playlist and hopefully that strike comes up. Oh fuck, yes, here it is. Okay, let's do this. Damn it, I didn't get it. Do it again. Do it again, do it again, do it again. That's exactly what we did in Destiny 1. Get me to fucking 385 light in the first 2 weeks, then let me do that. Because that is how you make a game rewarding.
One of the angriest Chris has ever been at me. Well, actually, I don't think he was angry. I think he just, that was when he saw the most ridiculous version of Trey, was after taking King. We grinded those strikes, and I finally got Tanik's cloak.
Oh, yeah.
And I screamed like a little girl. He's like, what the fuck was that? I think I lost 5 points of respect from Chris. Because I was so fucking excited because it was the coolest cloak in the
deal.
Game. Yeah. I will say though, after they announced the new super, Game Informer went more in depth with the new supers yesterday, and I'm really excited for the Void subclass because it gives me a reason to wear my Graviton forfeit.
Yep, the Void. That's the thing is they're making so many good changes to this game. They are. The new subclasses look super cool.
I get to wear my Graviton forfeit again.
Gambit looks super cool. The way the story progresses looks super cool. Spoiler alert, just the final raid boss, who that might be, just super fucking cool.
Which was totally conjecture by me. No one has confirmed that. I just am assuming that based off of things that I've heard.
No. There's a new. I'll tell you as soon as we're done here.
It's not spoiler alert. It's rumor mill, right?
Is it? Are we in rumor mill?
Well, I would say
I mean, has it been leaked?
Is
or
it
is it a
confirmed
rumor?
or leaked?
It is not confirmed. It's from a tweet from one of the developers at Bungie. So Holtzman, who was part of the DCP, got hired at Bungie, asked one of the lead developers if he could get a tattoo of the final raid boss. This is where we get into spoilers. So if you're listening, spoiler alert. Do you care at all?
I don't care.
Do you care, Everett? Okay.
It's a raid boss. So
So the lead.
I don't care either.
Thanks, Justin. one of the developers tweeted out saying, "I don't think."
Hold on, Everett. Are you about to plug your ears?
Maybe. Do what you do. Don't
Well, I know, but I don't. Like,
I'm just
going
gonna
to
keep. I'm just gonna keep
Okay.
going. One of the
I just worry about you.
one of the lead developers tweeted out. He said, "I don't think I would want her to be in that place," because I guess his tattoo's kind of on his ass. I don't want her to be in that place because she is too pretty to be in that place. They're not. I don't think he's talking about Savathun. Because Savathun would not be a pretty.
I mean,
anything.
It
could be.
It makes sense because in some of the in-game lore, they seem to refer to the queen as the dreamer.
Sure.
However, that still doesn't change the fact that Savathun is a girl.
I agree. But
and also Savathun could be a pretty...
Sure, she could be a really pretty hive weird thing, but I don't think she is. Like if I was saying she's too pretty to be on your ass, my first thought was like, oh my God, it's going to be Mara. Like,
but also
shit.
like that...
I mean, unless they're being like
so
facetious.
There is this dual side.
Sure, there is a dual side to this, of
Well,
course.
no, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
There's a dual... This makes me think even more. There's a dual side to the Dreaming City, right? Like there is the Taken Realm version of it, and then there's the Awoken essentially realm of it. Wouldn't it be cool if the final boss was like some mixture of Savathun and the Queen?
So here's what I thought.
Because it goes to that dual nature.
Here's what I thought. This is stretching it, and we can end here because I'd rather end on a positive note than a fucking negative note about this game. So the Hive have this really cool lore that's called the sword logic. Mm-hmm. The sword logic for the Hive is if you can kill a higher ranking Hive, you get to take their place and gain their powers and gain everything like that. At the beginning of Taken King, Mara shows up with the Fallen Army. He does this really cool these balls of energy that are taking shit down. And Oryx does this thing where he does this explosion and it does all this other. It basically annihilates the Awoken army. Like I said, super hypothetically, what's the word starts with a P?
Hypothesis?
No, not hypothesizing. That starts with an H.
I don't know what you mean. I know that doesn't start with a P, but
sure.
The
Anyway,
P is very
just
apparent.
thinking spin foil hat. Okay, spin foil hats on. Yeah. So what if whatever Mara was doing at the beginning of the Taken King was putting some sort of, let's call it a hex, because that's the best way I can describe it, and in like D&D terms, it makes sense. What if she put on some sort of hex? Who ended up killing Oryx? We did. Did we take his power? Absolutely not. We did not take his power in any way, shape, or form. But that power has to go to somebody else because that's the sword logic. That's the way the Hive have set it up. So what if that power got passed to Mara? She's actually in her own realm, ascended realm, basically ruling. What if she's the one doing the Hive shit? What if we've all been assuming it's Savathun, but the person who's actually taking that Red Legion cabal and that strike is Mara?
Well,
it's just, again, spin foil hats on. But
Can't wait to read all about it in the grimoire.
yeah,
I think based off of the way that sword logic works, because Guardians don't have a worm in them,
right.
the sword logic doesn't apply to them. Hold on. So the fact that the power didn't transfer to us makes sense because we don't
Sure,
have
of
a
course,
worm.
we don't have the
so our
worm.
worm can't grow stronger from defeating Oryx. However, that stupid raid weapon was Bungie's way of writing how the power transferred to us.
Which
'Cause
raid weapon?
There was that exotic that you got
Oh, the
from
Touch of
completing the raid.
Malice.
Yeah, Touch of Malice, which is supposedly like Oryx's soul is trapped in it.
Sure.
And so that's
Oryx's,
our way.
but they didn't say heart. They said they didn't say soul. Oryx's heart is
There you
trapped
go.
in Touch of Malice. So it may
don't
not
think
be. I don't know.
think I ever got Touch of Malice, so I don't
That
know
was
exactly.
That
what
was
it was.
such a good gun.
However,
Great gun.
I can see that, but I also see the idea that, again, because I really just want to believe Savathun is in this, because the thing
maybe,
is that
yeah.
like so far every adventure thing that we've kind of hit on has been part of the future DLCs.
Sure.
Like really the only major story point that has been hit on in an adventure that we haven't gone back and kind of looked into is the Savathun stuff.
Sure, absolutely. And Savathun's all over Destiny too. They reference her all the fucking time. But it's one of those things. It's like,
Well,
Bungie, you.
my whole point being is that could be the case, but I could also see that the queen is has to use something that has a worm in it to help transfer
Sure,
that
yeah,
power.
possibly. And that's the
But-
thing is like, again, like, so I say Bungie's terrible at storytelling because they are, but at Halo 1, 2, 3, Reach, and ODST, dude, there were some awesome moments in those games. There are some moments where you just did not see the twist coming, and Bungie got that so well in Halo 2 and 1 especially, where that twist comes and you're like, holy shit, I didn't see that coming. I hate to believe that there's storytellers at Bungie that don't understand that don't understand, huh?
It's because Joseph Staten left.
I understand exactly. Everett said it's because Staten left, and he is right. But I can count on my hand the amount of times my jaw has dropped in a video game, and it's BioWare games are a lot of it. But what if there is a writer at Bungie that has actually sat down and thought about this and put so many references to Savathun in Destiny 2, but all just to point away from what the actual thing is. What if they thought that far ahead? Did they? Probably not.
I hate
but
to
what
disappoint
if?
you,
I know, but what if?
Two things real fast, and unless you have anything to like follow up, we can get out of here. First thing is that in defense of your theory, it kind of makes a little bit of sense because after watching the final cutscene,
big time spinfoil hat.
after watching the final cutscene,
Which cutscene?
the cutscene after the credits. So the
Oh,
blast,
yeah,
the blast goes out from the Traveler,
Yeah.
goes through Mercury, goes through Mars, goes through the Reef, then it goes through the Dreadnought,
Yes.
and then it goes through something else that was kind of important.
After the Dreadnought, it was the Darkness.
Was it the Darkness after?
Yeah,
the
because they
Dreadnought?
went past.
I thought there was one more thing
I
after
think
it.
so. I think it went straight to the Darkness.
Anyway,
Oh, there was. It was the edge of the Milky Way
there you
galaxy.
go.
Yeah.
so if
Shut up,
they
Justin.
if they are going to do the whole Savathun thing, then the Dreadnought
be
being shown
after
next
this, sure.
would make sense.
Yeah.
Second point, though, is that based off of all this, so my secondary theory, and the theory that I think is probably more likely, is that the whole idea of the Dreaming City and the way that I think some lore guy on Destiny, my name is Bife, the way that he pitched it was that it's possible that Queen Mara, was taken to the Dreaming City, or she is being reborn in the Dreaming City.
Sure.
Now she's this really powerful character.
She is.
Take powerful things. So
Sure.
what if it's just a case of
Sure.
the Taken are attracted to the Dreaming City?
They
are infecting the Dreaming
They
City.
basically take Mara and Uldren.
I would say probably take Mara.
Uldren.
Uldren,
Fucking
you're right. It's
Rich.
Ulrich.
God
Ulrich
damn
fucks
it,
it up.
Rich.
Yeah, Uldren. I don't think I really don't. Well, oh god. We don't have time for this. But
Right, we
I
don't.
could see the final. I could also see the final boss being like this Takenified queen, and then that's the lead into Savathun,
Yeah, sure, totally. I can too.
which I think would be really fucking cool too.
I think it would be as well.
I
But
mean, yours
yeah.
is really cool too, but
Here's
the thing about you as a
mine
person.
Mine is based off of extremely good storytelling, which I know Bungie can't do.
here's the thing about you as a person. It's never that I disagree or don't want to see the things that you want to happen. It's that you believe the craziest fucking thing is going to happen. You believe that the craziest goddamn thing, the weirdest thing, the most out of this world thing, and it's like a 50-50 chance every time.
Sure.
Either it happens or either it doesn't happen. And you can never tell which one. And so me as a rational person wants to say, of course that's not what's going to happen. That's dumb. But me as a person that have seen your crazy things.
But then Final Fantasy VII Remake gets announced.
Me seeing the crazy shit that you pull out of your ass and that comes to fruition makes me doubt myself every time.
Hey, man,
Post-Rage 2
it's
world.
a post-Rage 2 world.
It's not like I've been saying the same thing since Taken King.
Well, to be fair, like, your brain works in a different way than everyone else's, so you probably have been saying the same thing, but we just haven't processed it correctly.
It's on the podcast.
It's probably right.
Is it on the
I
podcast?
said it years ago now.
That you said Marasov was...
Taken Rome, trying to take the taking power of the Taken King.
Well, okay, real fast, but just we'll talk about this
She was
afterwards.
the spark that you follow in the raid.
If you guys like what we do, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher. You can follow the show on Twitter at Twinstick Radio or on Facebook at facebook.com/TwinstickRadio. Make sure you are following us on whatever your favorite platform to listen to podcasts on is. You can follow all of us on Twitter as well. I am at Darth Trey. Chris is at Short Change Hero with the 3 instead of the E in Hero. And Justin is at Justin T. Lopez. This show is produced, as always, by Everett Jordan. Give him a follow on Twitter at The56th. All letters, no numbers, TH at the end. And the show is edited by Connor Manning. Follow him on Twitter at Connor13, one in Connor 13 spelled out. And follow the shit he does for Downstream Studios, where he inserts Chris Dinosaur noises into Jurassic Park and movies like Rampage and documentaries.
Dude, nice. The Rock makes such stupid movies. Rampage and Skyscraper looks so stupid.
The Rock makes money.
So
I believe what
you are.
He's
right.
in three movies so far this year. He might be in like 18, but the 3 movies I know so far from this year: Jumanji, which wasn't bad.
Was it not? Was this as good as the first one?
I think
What year is this?
It was completely different than the first one.
and I think it was better than the first one.
What?
Because I don't think Robin Williams is funny.
Not anymore.
Damn.
I just never thought he was funny.
I think he's pretty funny. I think you have
and
to be,
I accept
I
that
think you have to be a certain age to appreciate Robin Williams' comedy.
Robin Williams is like stand up, like the invention of golf. One of the funniest
so
damn
good.
skits ever.
In the defense of Robin Williams, obviously the majority of people disagree with me. His humor is just not for me. He made millions doing it. Good
Sure.
for him. Don't let anything I say affect your
Sure,
opinion
no,
of Robin
absolutely.
Williams.
I mean, I think Dane Cook is a douchebag, but there's millions of people that think he's hilarious.
Rampage wasn't awful. Rampage is one of those movies that you could go and just enjoy.
Okay, I mean, it is
Like-
it's a giant wolf and a giant gorilla destroying a city. Sure,
Yeah.
How
It
can
was a
you
great
not?
video game.
I was gonna say, how can you not sit down and enjoy something like that? That sounds awesome.
And I don't know, Skyscraper just kind of reminds me of like a modern version of Die Hard.
Yeah, it's just nowhere near as good.
And
I'm gonna see it, and I'm
Nowhere
gonna love
near
it.
as
I'm
good.
sure it'll be enjoyable in the same way as Rampage was, but I just don't like action movies that take place in the real world.
I agree. That's why I don't like movies that take place in the real world that deal with like real things. Like I don't know what's a really good example of this, but like
Titanic.
yeah, sure, maybe Titanic or like Titanic was fine, but like a movie that is so based in reality that it's just like, why am I watching this? I can
Marley
just
and
go-
Me.
Yeah, there you go. Like Marley and Me is such a dumb movie to me. Why would I watch that when I could watch Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or fucking Jurassic Park and watch dinosaurs kill things?
I think to
Like,
me it all depends on the presentation. Like, like look
Possibly.
at a movie like Baby Driver.
oh, that's a better example. I know I would not like that movie
You
in
would
any way,
fucking
shape.
love Baby Driver
there's
because
no
the
way.
reason why that movie
There's no,
works.
there's no
He wouldn't.
lightsabers.
He
There's
would
no
love it.
lightsabers in
wouldn't,
it.
though.
I guarantee you he would love it.
No, you would think he would, right? But then he would go into it just wanting to hate it so bad that he would just hate it just to hate it.
He would love it because
You would ask like, "Oh, what do you not like about it?" And be like, "Ugh."
That is a perfect representation of my reasons.
Chris, even if Chris wouldn't admit it to me, because that is something that Chris would do. Chris would not admit it to me, but he would actually like it.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't even ask him. I would just walk away assuming that he liked it because I know he did.
Although Ryan
Because
Gosling
here's
does
the
look like
thing.
an
It is
ass.
a great
Because
movie.
I agree with you, though. I assume we're
Wait,
not
did you say
recording
Ryan
anymore.
Gosling
Isn't
looks
he
like
in
an
that
ass?
movie?
No, you're thinking of Driver. This
Oh,
is
that's
Baby
another
Driver.
movie I think I would fucking hate.
Or not Driver, Drive.
But
Are we done recording? No, we're still recording.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you can stop the recording. We're not talking about anything important.
Driver's
This is
a
very
shitty
important.
movie. This is very important.